On the back of the worst day for stocks since October of last year, futures trying to get back to the upside ever so slightly here this morning ahead of comments from President Trump, or a speech actually from President Trump coming up here this morning over in Davos. We'll bring that to you live, or anything that can move the market. Meanwhile, yeah, that's how the S&P 500 looks right now. Netflix, the big headline this morning to the downside, basically at the lows right now. As we get earnings after the close last night. If you were with us, we brought you the numbers, we brought you the forecast, and that's the problem. Forecast a little bit weak, specifically pointing to higher costs for producing content, also the potential for higher costs surrounding closing this Warner Brothers deal. So we'll dig through that. Metals absolutely screaming once again this morning, both gold and silver back to highs. Raheem Alani going to join us this morning, talk a little bit about both. Coming up at about 8:30 or 8:40, but lots to talk about. UAL as well, a little bit of a beat. I mean, it's not really doing much here this morning, but to the upside for United Airlines on, hey, guess what? More people buying nice seats on airplanes once again seems to be the story.
Yeah, it's not a surprise there, Brendo. You and I have talked a lot about that, whether it's Delta or American. You know, they're really focusing on the higher margin product, and of course that higher margin product happens to be premium, well, not premium economy, but business class. You guys know what I mean. But yeah, Netflix really, really weak here, Brendo. 7%, looking almost at that $80 level. There's an NVIDIA headline as well. Jensen making his way over to China, as well as another acquisition, an inference acquisition this time around, no longer trading. Gold and silver both making big moves. And hey, let's not forget about nat gas. Kind of hard to forget, given that it's
freezing.
Basically a fridge or a freezer outside. Another 11.5% for UNG up on the morning.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a move like this. It's been a while since we've had cold like this, I feel like, as well. So we'll talk about nat gas. Here's Nike as well, just reading more on these details. A little bit of a executive rearranging for Nike. That was out after the close last night as well. Didn't really do much on this, but back downside right now for Nike. Some of the banks moving around here this morning. JP Morgan with a headline of its own, back to the lows. Had a pretty ugly day yesterday. It's worth noting some of the gains that we saw yesterday in yields continuing this morning, especially on the long end of the curve, 10, 30-year back to the upside. Dollar was slightly higher ahead of this speech from Trump this morning. I mean, this could go a whole bunch of different ways. I think we'll have to see which way he takes it. But I mean, I was just reading a headline that Christine Lagarde walked out of a meeting with some high-ranking Trump officials this morning as well, I guess, afternoon over there. But I mean, this could go many, many ways today.
Yeah. Schwab as well reported this morning, but I talked to you off camera about our Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech yesterday at the WEC, and his position was this, Brendo. He's trying to categorize a group of countries. Let's include Canada among them, maybe France, Germany. You know, these what he's calling middle countries, and these middle countries, according to Prime Minister Mark Carney, are trying to kind of gain favor with the United States by competing against one another. Oh, I'll drop my tariffs on this. Oh, I'll lower this for you. Just give me a good deal. His position is, hey, let's offer a third avenue rather than, you know, the people who want to side with China, the people who want to side with the United States. Let's offer a third path where the middle countries don't compete against one another, but compete, or basically compete against what he's calling the great powers.
Yeah.
Interesting take, very theoretical. My concern is when he meets with President Trump, having labeled the United States as almost an adversary because they're going to compete against them, how does that work with President Trump, especially after allowing Chinese electric vehicles, which was not well received south of the border?
Yeah,
at all.
It's bold, as you said, you know, the
bold
direction he's trying to go here. But I mean, he straight out came out and said, what used to be is not coming back.
Exactly.
So everyone needs to get used to the new world order. Yeah, the screen giving us a little bit of issues this morning. We'll get that going, though. Morning, guys. Lots to talk about today.
Yeah, good morning. And darkness is spreading.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just saying, it's you don't realize how good it is until it's off, you know.
Yeah, and even like it's...
Ramin did something.
And yesterday was absolutely fantastic new look for the all-new aftermarket to cover those disappointing Netflix earnings. Well, I mean, the earnings weren't necessarily disappointing, but the reaction, I suppose, would be disappointing. So thank you, everybody, for sticking around for that. It feels like we're, I don't know, a little bit the same, right? Like the market looks tepid, weak this AM, but heck, if you held gold overnight, you're gapping up pretty much what it did Friday to yesterday, and another gap up, which is interesting because it wasn't that crazy of an up day if you looked intraday. Like most of the moves have been coming overnight for that, so it looks pretty strong. On the flip side of things, Bitcoin is at 88K. So lost 90 yesterday. Okay, bouncing back and almost at 89 now that I look at it. ETH under 3,000. So crypto's still weak. Metal's still strong. Nat gas going absolutely ham. Tech still looks a little tepid as well. And yeah, Netflix seems like it's all about the overhang of Warner Brothers. Down 7% almost exactly. So a little bit worse than what we left off. I wanted to see if they didn't really say much in the call that was going to maybe assuage you. And in some light guidance a little bit as well, but not very good for Netflix. It's not the best start, but the bigger earnings names obviously are going to come next week. We have Intel on Thursday, or tomorrow, I should say. But yeah, already 0 for 1 in terms of the bigger names. Reaction to a beat.
Yeah, down 7%. Not a great look there, as we talked about some of the interest with, there's Neil, some of the forward guide, right? So we'll have to see. But yeah, 81 bucks. We're going to probably play that off of 80. We're just going to see what happens when it gets down to that $80 mark. I don't think this whole Davos thing is going to be, he's arriving now in Davos. I don't really think that's going to be a huge market mover, only because I'm pretty certain the market is already negative on whatever he's going to be saying. But I mean, if it flips the switch a little bit here and maybe starts talking more positively about potentially coming up with a deal and something with Greenland, and maybe pulls back on some of the tariff talk, then I could see something going on there. Gold up, silver down. So a little bit of an interesting play here. I was almost thinking about this top and wondering if we short that against 86 bucks. We'll see silver today, though. We've shorted it before, and it's worked temporarily and then not worked after that. Intel, I guess, at 50. I mean, that's another play right here. That's literally at $50 right now. So we'll see if that can get going as well. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting watching what Carney was saying as well. But Marissa had read all about, like, how well it was constructed and all that kind of stuff, and how well he spoke. So she was watching it when I got home. And yeah, it sounded pretty good for Canada and the rest of these mid countries. I don't know how well it's going to last when, as Sharif said, as we talk to President Trump personally, and he's not going to probably like some of the things that were said there, but NVIDIA, some of these American companies just keep on pushing higher, right? I mean, we got to respect what NVIDIA has been doing over the last 5-6 years. Look what Alibaba's doing today as well. They secure a power deal there in China. So I have this written down on the list here, up 3%. So that continues to get a little bit higher there. The dollar today, Bitcoin as well, 89,000. The Japanese yields were going crazy yesterday. You mentioned Nat Gas today, which is NG / what did we say it was?
10%
February.
We're H now, yeah.
Oh, we're H. We're March now. Yeah, $3.50. Yeah, up 10%, starting to really get going. I mean, it is freezing around here, and I know that's like, it's too easy. It's funny because you knew the weather was going to be bad, so shouldn't we just go long Nat Gas? Like, we knew about that over the weekend, so that's giving you a nice little bump up there if that's the only reason for that going. So we'll have to watch, stocks like Boyle and things like that, where you can get Boyle. Here it is right here. Get some take on this if you didn't want to trade gas specifically. This is up 22% here on this ETF as well. So yeah, comments from Trump is going to be floating through here. So, watching names like CRML, maybe today could be something. Critical metals, if this Greenland sort of gets escalated even more, this could start to go. Defense stocks, maybe. I don't know. I don't think we're at that stage yet, are we? But there's Nat Gas as well. There's Palantir as well at flat on the day. But I don't know, some different things to look at.
I didn't even realize. We never really trade Nat Gas. But it's if you're here at Real Trading, like you can trade on the NYMEX for sure. And if you looked at yesterday, like just specifically, like right off the bat at the open, like $3, like we just kind of held this $3 level. Like look at the VWAP hold, and the structure looks pretty good. I might start taking a closer look at this because when it's moving, and people call it the Widowmaker. I know Michael was talking about nat gas for a potential bounce play, but if it can do what it did after the open, which is find obvious support, then put in the higher low at VWAP, the trend can be played for sure. But I don't know. You think it's cold now? I saw what they were talking about for Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, I think we're going to get past minus 30 with the wind chill.
Oh, they got the wind chill on there. I saw minus 20 it was.
Yeah, this morning it's like minus 20 with the wind chill. But hey, man,
oh, is it? Oh.
That just is what it is. You know, it's part of winter, but hopefully we turn the corner soon because I'm not the biggest fan of when it gets that.
It's starting to snow a little bit. I mean, as long as there's no snow outside, I feel like it's fine.
We're getting some today. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's controllable. I don't know, the driving and the walking. You know, if it's cold outside, you just wear warmer clothing. I mean, I feel like that's fine.
Throw on the long johns.
Yeah, I don't actually own a pair of long johns, but I probably should.
I was kidding because it was one day Obi was like, oh yeah, you gotta have the long johns on.
I'm sure he was.
And but it wasn't cold out. Like this was like months ago, and it was.
Oh, okay. So he's probably wearing. I don't know. Like he's probably wearing them today.
Like if you do that when it's 0, what do you do when it's minus 20? But
you stay inside.
Well, we'll be staying inside as much as we can when it's that cold. But you can't stay inside, do whatever. You can't avoid the volatility. It is certainly back. That's another thing worth watching. You know, we look at UVXY oftentimes here because that's a real trading. What you can trade, you can talk about the VIX. We've backed off a little bit from yesterday's highs, but it was like the distinct change. The market all morning was a buy. You know, you saw that reaction, and really off 9:30, you did see mostly a downward trend in volatility. But when it flipped the switch midday, it was relentless. Relentless bidding. So just watch out. If we take out some of those highs, it's probably not a good thing for the overall market. You know, we're creeping. We're back under 20 on the VIX. UVXY here at about 41. So it is going to be worth watching 100%. I also see even on our screen, which is now working again, that is awesome. Thanks for getting it back up there. I see some small cappers for Sharif. Two that we know, Veru and, now SOU ends up there, but I saw Veru, I saw Xena was another mover. So there was lots of small cap opportunity. There always are. And sometimes it'll be thematic because you'll be able to find not just, bio-farm names, which were running around yesterday, but you can also find some in the crypto space. You can also find some definitely related to the metals, although critical metals is a bit of a disappointment. What's got your eye today, Sharif, early?
I haven't had a thorough look yet, Neil, but SLGB is leading the way here in terms of percentage change this morning, 181% SLGB. Let's throw that on there. We'll take a quick gander and see what this one's looking like. I like to look at the 5 mainly. This is really good structure here. Nice breakout in the aftermarket yesterday at around 530. It kind of continues on higher lows, higher highs above VWAP. Neil, looks like it's trying to hold that 3.25 where VWAP is. Good structure certainly on this one, but these have a way of breaking down, Brendo, but by the time the bell rings, sometimes they continue. There was a couple of good continuers yesterday into the midday show, but kind of an exception, not the rule.
Yeah, definitely the one to put on your list if you're looking for those. So far today, J&J, meanwhile, downside as well. Just made a new low. Not a lot of volume, basically any volume at this point behind J&J, but earnings, okay, the forecast looks to be the issue here. It's back down to 210. If you zoom out, though, on J&J, this is another one that's had, quite the run-up on a higher time frame. Yep. I mean, I just went out to a weekly chart here. I'll bring it over. We basically ended the day yesterday at the highs, coming back in here this morning on this report, but I mean, this thing's been looking great since last year.
Really good, especially after they kind of got that whole talcum powder lawsuit with cancer thing. The chart's been looking a lot better. Good Q4 2025. Earnings per share came in at 246. That's up about 21% year over year, and that beat the consensus estimate. Sales, their revenue, guys, about a little bit more than $24.5 billion. That's also a 9.1% increase in beating the 24.16. They're also guiding decent here for for full year 2026, we're saying basically about $100 billion in top line number. That's ahead of the 99, actually 98.89, with guidance coming in for EPS, Brendo, at 11.43 to 11.63. So not too bad of a look. We'll have to see how this trades.
Yeah, again, not a lot of volume behind that so far this morning, but one to watch. Netflix on a downtick here, right back to 81. That's basically where we put in the low early on this morning. See if we can hold this once again. A couple of things of note here, and we touched on this if you joined us after 4 o'clock yesterday when this came out. The subscriber base, yes, crossed 325 million for the first time, which was great. 8% uptick in the subscriber base. They were looking for, I think the forecast was 11 to 14 million year over year. So in or about where they expected it. But I mean, there's a lot of question marks around costs going forward. They pointed specifically to higher costs in production for making content, higher costs possibly with regards to closing this WBD deal. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people talking about Netflix here, downside potential.
Yeah, well, 7 and change. Basically exactly what you said there. There is balance sheet risk. If you're going to, number one, ante up an all-cash deal rather than a little bit of cash, a little bit of stock, that obviously puts pressure on your balance sheet. Number two, Brendo, they've got to stop the share buybacks in order to have the cash on hand to go ahead and to make the acquisition if it is to go through. WBD, of course, we're talking about that. So they are reaffirming that they're pausing the share buybacks, and that's really what investors focused on. So my takeaway from this was acquisition risk remains a headline for Netflix, balance sheet impairment because of the all-cash deal, and the regulatory scrutiny. I mean, President Trump already commented about this. It's not done. We know, things are fluid. But, he said maybe, I don't remember exact words, but you know what I mean. Sentiment didn't seem great.
Yeah, and that on the back of Warner Brothers coming out and straight up saying they're suggesting that investors go and vote for this cash deal from Netflix. So revenue, as you said, 16% to the upside, 12.05 billion. We were talking a little bit last night, guys, about the earnings call. Earnings call was 4:45, and whether or not there would be any kind of highlights as far as answering some of these questions. I didn't see any quotes or comments that leaned heavily in that direction. I think the stock kind of told the same story because even when the call started, we saw a little bit of continuation.
Exactly. But you know what really stood out to me was I remember them coming out maybe 2 years ago now and saying, look, we're not going to update all that. We're not going to update it all on our users, on our subscriber growth. And in fact, that was the case for about a year now. This is the first time they've actually released it. And I'm questioning as to why. Is it going to be maybe a one-a-year thing, or was there a reason because the stock's well off the highs that they needed to sort of reassure everybody, reaffirm, hey, we're growing. It's not maybe at the same speed that we were before, but it was a little interesting to me why they chose to do it this time around.
If you think about it from the standpoint of who is now in front of them, they've more or less dominated the Disney Plus, Hulu, all the other streaming options that are out there. From a subscriber base purely, they've dominated all of those, potentially one. Who is now in front of them that they have to, set their sight on? Is it YouTube now? Is it?
I would say, yeah.
And if it is YouTube at this point, then they're straight up going directly at Google. So Netflix taking on the behemoth of Alphabet and Google is a little bit of a different narrative, I think, to Disney and those other smaller players.
Couldn't agree more.
The challenge might have increased as far as that goes.
Yeah, and there's a second in contention there, Disney, biting on their heels. Not nearly as many users, of course, but I got to agree with you completely that YouTube kind of is that dominant feature, especially now with a lot more people jumping on YouTube Premium to kind of get the music, avoid the ads. That creates a great deal. But isn't it funny when we talk about, legacy media, for example, like your Warner, Warner Brothers, TNT, when they lost basketball, for example, they couldn't compete with the tech companies because the tech companies had too much money. They were outdoing legacy. But there's degrees of tech companies, isn't there, Brendo? As you just mentioned, Google at the top, Netflix not quite there.
Exactly the same. It's a great example. Exactly the same situation, and we're already seeing Netflix going into YouTube. Picking out Mr. Beast, giving him a show, picking out all these different creators
100%.
From YouTube and putting them on their platform as well. So a lot to think about. Anyways, Netflix guys back to lows right now here.
just on that thought, realistically, yes, they're competing against YouTube. I think YouTube is exactly what's in front of them. Even on the call, there were, the CEO was trying to literally assuage concerns about engagement and being down. And his answer was that compared to our peers, our numbers hold up well. Right. Okay, well, that's right, because the streamers are all kind of losing a little bit of ground to YouTube. Because that is true competition, and I think it could be weighing on them a little bit. And there were some good points. I mean, cash flow was a good beat for them, but unfortunately, ball doesn't lie. Nothing. I said if they can bounce the 83 after that call, then I'd feel a little bit differently about it. But for now, you're just still you've lost major support, that 82, 83 level on the daily chart. So unless we regain that, it's hard to be bullish till you can find a round number. Or, as I usually do when we're almost 10% down, look for that SSR bounce. If it hits the 10% mark, then I'm just kind of hunting for a mean reversion. I did want to get to a small capper, and I know we have a super chat about a couple of small cappers, but maybe not this one. This is PAVM up 120%. The story here, I can throw it up for you guys. Lucid Diagnostic wins a VA contract for Esselgard. Okay, so that's. Not going to pronounce that, cancer screening, yada, yada, yada. But PAVM is a subsidiary, and so they've been awarded this contract. Does look like it's doing a really decent amount of volume here for PAVM. I want to check the short float for you guys. Okay, that source cannot be right because I seriously doubt that the short float's 132%. But the float is only 850K on this, so it doesn't. The size of the amount that's short when it's that tiny is going to be a little bit inconsequential. We also have a super chat, I believe, about a couple of small cappers if we can find it. I don't know if you have it up there, Andre, or I can. There we go. It's from Adam James Abroad.
Oh, again.
Good morning to you as well, Adam.
Morning.
Great morning already with BNAI and ADTX. We know those from both of them in play yesterday. Oh, and heading on a Mayan ruins tour all day, so I wish you all a huge green day. Appreciate you and thank you for that. Enjoy the day. Always good to see. Traveling's a lot of fun, and the ability to sort of see cool sights, I think, is awesome. BNAI, though, this one, and we talk about this all the time. Sometimes the best moves are early in the pre-market. You could be done if you were kind of long the first available dip into 8. Now it's underneath VWAP. Maybe that one's going to be done, but that PAVM looks like it's going to start to go.
Yeah, I don't want to ignore J&J here. That story that we just gave you guys. Look at this 50-period moving average. It's been pretty hot fire. And if you get a dip down into this with a new oncology drugs, they have this new Otava, which is their ISRG. They're looking to a medical robot here to perform surgeries. The Talcum story is now officially behind them. And they can just keep extending out. J&J is a rough dividend of 3%, depending on, where the yield is. But 3% yield, they've increased their dividend every year for the last 60 years. A continuous buyback name, and gives you a little bit of exposure still in the AI space because of, how much AI has affected some of these healthcare names, and a provider like J&J of, different medicines, and we think of them as the Band-Aid guys, but this is gonna work out. So J&J right there on a dip down 3% on earnings. I think if you can get into $200, this is a buy to diversify. A buy to diversify.
Ooh, I like that.
I got to pen that one
right.
there. But yeah, I just think that this is something. So watch out if we get a little lower for J&J. Good quarter and a lot of reasons, in my opinion, to buy this name. And more of that Otava, ATTAVA, I think it is. That's their new medical surgery assistant robot. So I think that's going to be something here that could really shoot up the PE of this name, right? Because you go from, a health name into sort of a health and tech, and that should shoot up its PE and give it just a little bit of a re-weighting. So we'll see. It's already been happening, but J&J here on a pullback. Why not get a few more shares of J&J in your life? Someone named Johnson or something.
Yeah, well, speaking of biopharma, this segment of the show brought to you by Electrocore Inc., traded on the Nasdaq under the ticker ECOR. Electrocore is a commercial stage bioelectronic medicine company using non-invasive neuromodulation to address chronic pain, headache, and wellness conditions. The company recently reported record revenue, guided to approximately $30 million for full year 2025, and strengthened its balance sheet following the integration of Neurometrics and its Quell platform. With high margin recurring revenue, growing VA and consumer channels, and a clear path toward improved cash flow, Electrocore is positioning itself at the intersection of medical technology and wellness innovation. To learn more, you can visit electrocore.com or follow the company under the ticker ECOR, or scan the QR code you see right there in front of you. Shout out to them as well. And got to give a big shout out to the Super Chat, which is just the name.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love this name, by the way. Oh, where is my super? I want to be able to bring it up on screen. I don't know if you can get it up there faster than I can find it there. Andre? Oh, that's right.
It's not a super chat.
There's no message. It is a super chat. It's just that there's no message. So we have a tool that's built so that we can show you the messages and the questions. But when there's no text and it's just the super chat, then we can't bring it up on screen. We'll have to figure out a way to fix that in. Or just include like something in the text. But thank you, Trady McGrady. See, not only is it's trading related, which, I mean, that works.
Yeah, that works.
Obviously, it's it's just creative. And on top of that, we're in Toronto. And T-Mac, while he wasn't here very long, Tracy McGrady was considered a Raptor great. Would have been a heck of a lot better if we could have kept them together. Maybe we would have had a championship a little bit earlier. Who knows? But thank you for the super chat there, Trady McGrady. Hopefully you have a good day today trading, for sure. As a lot to cover. I think we expect to have a Raheem come through at some point, and realistically, with the metals doing what they are, good time for that, because I've seen a lot of people talking like they always do about gold. I just want to maybe reiterate, the bulk of the impressive move the last couple of sessions has been the gap. If you look at it, the actual trading on GLD yesterday, it was small move down. Like, you're moving $3. That's less than 1%. It's like 0.7 or 0.8% down, and then almost 1% up from the bottom. So it was a very much inside type of day. When it's gapping 2 or 3% the last couple of sessions, intraday, you're getting less than that in terms of movement. Hopefully that can change. I still think in terms of percent move, you're going to get more action out of silver intraday than you do out of gold, even if gold seems to want to try to take the lead again. So yeah, a lot to cover for sure. As we await in about 2 minutes, the president's going to speak. We'll see.
Yeah, we got our ears to the ground.
We don't really know. Our ears are going to be to the ground. Just got to be ready for it. Sometimes he moves the market, sometimes he doesn't. There's no way to predict it. All you can do is buckle up and enjoy the ride, because we got you covered.
Yeah, I don't imagine much going to be happening here. He's going to watch the futures, I think. Like, if he gets really sour, on things here. So I would just watch out. The S&P 500 is near. I mean, you can trade the S&P 500, you can trade Nasdaq, whatever you want. But I just think that this is, near a tipping point. We talked about sort of that yesterday. If we start to break underneath, we're already underneath the 50-period moving average. We've seen moves like this before, and it's been bought up right around here, 650 both times. So you're only at 675 now. So about another % or 2 down is where you'll find, hopefully a base for these futures, and we can start to dip by into here. So let's wait to see if that's what winds up happening. So if the market somehow, like, if he just gets super aggressive, saying like, I don't care what anybody says, or we've already said this, but let's make it, even more public, and how more of a public stage is this in front of everybody, and just gets real super aggressive, and then I could see the futures falling down. But I'm not sure that's going to happen. Let's hear the case, see what he talks about here. And watch out for dip buys, man, like around 650. If we can get something like that today, then great. Or you just try to, if you really like what he has to say, then I think you can just go long right off these levels. I mean, we had such a bad day yesterday in the market that there could be, I got to get this going, there could easily be a recovery day here today, right? And so I'd say breaking above this 678 or something like that on the S&P 500, then maybe we get back going here. That'll take out the 50-period moving average and give us yesterday's afternoon back, and then we start to recover and see what winds up happening. There's been dumps like this before, man. I mean, he's not holding up a placard with all these, you know, how much every country is being taxed here on the tariff. We'll just wait to see if it comes back in. That's it. Like, so wait to see if you do get this little tantrum effect in the market, then I would say we want to buy these dips. Earnings have still been pretty good. The banks weren't the greatest, but you know, I feel like earnings will be fine for in tech land. We see a rebound here. You see Alibaba getting strong with China. Hopefully there's some good talk with NVIDIA, chips going there into China. And we'll just wind up seeing if the rest of the market follows suit here today. I'm trying to be a little positive just in case it does turn around. Sometimes when everybody's, you know, all the marbles are one way, you know, the board shifts the other way. So
that's what happened yesterday at the Open, really.
Yeah, exactly.
For the first like hour and a half of the day. Certainly what happened. So, I mean, 830's hit, and again, this is not like an economic number, right? Like, we'll obviously get reaction if there is any, but there's nothing crazy happening right away at 830. Just some news drops. I saw, it was LXRX, Lexicon. There's some small cappers moving around. That's not doing any volume there. Just heard that one in my ear, but it doesn't seem like it's anything crazy. And just, I was actually going to make a comment about the banks before we throw back up to the boys at the desk. I do feel like at some point, like if you looked at who did do well in terms of earnings, it was Goldman and Morgan. It was the trading side. It is the IPO market that's coming back this year. Can we get SpaceX sometime soon? Hopefully.
Yeah,
but this is starting to pull back in. Like, it's rode the 50-period moving average, and you're a good day or two away from seeing some of these pull back in, at least specifically Morgan Stanley, back into the 50-period moving average. I think that's a pretty obvious bounce spot, at least for this bank. For sure. But again, lots to cover, guys, and we'll keep our ear to the ground. As I know, Brennan, you'll be listening to see if the president does anything for us. I'm kind of feeling like he's going to talk, obviously, and there'll be reaction to what was said by Carney. There'll be reaction probably to what happened with Lagarde and that meeting. But whether we get anything new in terms of rhetoric, I'm doubting it.
All right, I have the stream up, guys. Hasn't even connected yet. So in true fashion, we are fashionably late, I guess, so far as the speech is concerned. But I'll leave this up, make sure we have it when it does come on. A few people mentioning this. Yeah, that's VERO on its way, it looks like, to Jeff Mendel's neighborhood on the OTC. So VERO voluntarily delisting from the Nasdaq and deregistering from the SEC. So that one's halted. Don't hold your breath, probably won't be back, at least today. Tesla, I heard on a bit of a pop-up there. Yeah, it did move, I guess, right back to 420. Elon sounding a little cautious in not very Elon manner when it comes to the Cybercab here.
Yeah, well, that's because it's starting from scratch, Brendo, and that's kind of the point he's trying to make there. Let's talk about what he said yesterday. He took to X, responding to, I guess, a user of X's kind of query or comment. He said, look, early production of the Cybercab and Cybercab robotaxi, of course, is what I mean, and Optimus humanoid robot will be, quote, agonizingly slow, and he's blaming that, of course, on the manufacturing complexity as a bottleneck. He says, look, production speed and new parts are inversely related, and both these products are brand new, so there's a plenty of new parts. Both platforms are built largely from scratch. And in case you don't know, the Cybercab is a two-seater with no steering wheel, no pedals. It's been viewed all over Austin. Brendo, I don't know if you've been on X lately, but a lot of people taking videos of the Cybercab testing on the streets of Austin. Elon saying the testing is now without a safety driver. It's not driving anybody around like a Waymo, but testing is underway. Here's what we can expect. He says production for the Cybercab is going to scale up Q1 of 26, so now. However, Optimus, we're going to have to wait for scale or to see even the first ones at the end of this year. So lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, he was pointing into, going back to the investor event that they had at the end of last year, he was pointing to 2027, I think, for Optimus specifically on mass scale. So, yeah, a little bit of time to wait for that. But here's Tesla, guys. This 418 comes into play right at the end of the day yesterday. Here we are trying to bounce off that once again.
Hey, maybe you get a 420 break at some point. Like it's already showing 420 is the resistance this morning. It kind of barcoding. It's not barcoding's. I mean, it's the right word because if it's just hanging out a dollar range for the good part of half an hour, then that effectively is barcoding, but it's right underneath that 420. I do feel like if you get a relief rally, that could make a press back into that morning low at least, like the 24, 25. But if we don't press through those mid-20s, I'd say that's kind of a muted bounce day, which is fine. It needs those, but there haven't been any of those like explosive, hey, Tesla goes 3, 4, 5% kind of days. We saw that on the way up to 500, but since that fail, it's been like very muted even when we catch a bit of a bid. So you look for that 1 or 2% instead. And if that's the case, that does give you some sort of obvious fade zones if we get that kind of a play. The mid-20s, and then you get the pre-market high from yesterday in that 30 range. I still feel like you're in the penalty box here, and the stock's getting a little bit punished. So I don't want to let it out just yet. It's going to have to prove a little bit more for me. And I do agree with the notion that the stock is priced, and we should need to be focusing on other things, specifically whether it's going to be FSD or whether you want to talk about Optimus. Those are what matter. But I feel like we got a lot of that rally when we got to 500, and now it's like, what's the good piece of news that's going to kick us up and break this downtrend? I haven't seen it yet for Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the penalty box right now. I mean, yeah, it's a good thing. Like yesterday, we got the story that there was no demand for Cybertrucks, and now today we're hearing that the Cybercab is having a problem getting some parts. So it's like, okay, so we don't have the equipment, we don't have the demand. So what do we have? We have robotics, and we have FSD, and we have all this nice stuff that we already all know about. So I don't like the stock right here, honestly. I mean, I own it, and I'm not selling it, and we should have, obviously. And we had last bought it above where it is right now. So I think it's just a wait. Like, I'm just waiting for the Cybercabs. I mean, I don't really know what else to do right now. We know the car sales have been lower. Doesn't seem to be wanting to get off the bottom for any sort of sales numbers. And you're not too far away from all-time highs. You know, you're about 10% lower here. Like, so 420, add 40, if you add, you know, $50 to that, you're back up here. So let's just say you're 15% away from all-time highs again there on Tesla. It's not the complete end of the world, but it isn't a stalemate. I mean, this goes all the way back to September, but you can also pull back JP Morgan's chart that goes all the way back to September now. Like, there's a lot of names that are not just Tesla that have, you know, received a pullback into these zones. So these are all, this is a buying zone right now, underneath the 50 period on a stock that, you know, we know makes money. Margins shrinking, fine. EVs are a thing. They're going to be lasting for a while. These are still the king. They're the only company that can make an EV. I mean, if you go sans BYD, that can actually produce net profit for a company. When they actually roll out a car, they actually make money. So that's an interesting aspect for EV land there. But maybe it just drifts lower here. I mean, the other problem is the fact that we have all this tariff talk. And I mean, we just said these middle countries, you know, like, what if the EU does get pissed off about this whole Denmark, Greenland thing, and there are more tariffs provided the other way around? Maybe you can't get Tesla cars into Europe. Maybe they're taxed too high. Maybe, like, I have no idea. China is another story there for Tesla. So I think it's just there's a little bit of politics in this, obviously, and the consumer, although pretty strong, I don't think anyone's spending, you know, 50 grand on a new car right now. And if they are, it's probably not a Tesla. As we see that a lot of their sales have been downside. I really do like FSD, but until you get above this 460 area, I really think it's just a wait and see until you get better news. So for me on Tesla, it might be an earnings story. The good thing about Tesla is it can move 10% in a day, you know, so you're never really out of it. I say you buy the dips, but the next dip, unfortunately, isn't until about this 380 or so area. So I don't know, man. It's so easy to pass the buck onto everything is this tariff problem. But at the end of the day, Canada just let in Chinese vehicles, you know, Chinese EVs into Canada. I know it's only, I think it's what, 40,000 vehicles or something they're allowed? Yeah, so between 40 to 50,000. So it's not like it's a huge number, but it definitely is a number now. So President Trump apparently, you know, kicking right now there in Davos. So we'll see what exactly he has to say for himself. But more important than anything that anybody has to say in Davos is something that the man over my right shoulder has to say. That's Rahim Alani. He flies right from here, right over to Switzerland. He's ready to rock and roll right after this. But thank you for being here one more time, Rahim. Did you catch, by any chance, Mark Carney yesterday?
I did see some of Carney's notes, and I appreciate Davos making the accommodation for me because I was supposed to be there at this moment, and they said, "Can you make it?" And I said, "Well, I got Trader TV." Like, all right, well, we have this other guy, we can put him in. And I said, well, put the other guy in.
Okay.
It turned out to be Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it worked out for everybody.
Yeah, no pressure.
Not at all.
You're going to be head to head here.
I think it's no pressure on the audience. Who do you want to watch?
Yeah, exactly.
Us?
They have made their choice, clearly. So
you are here with us, and we're going to tell you the real goods.
Just real quick, guys, I just pulled up KHC here, Kraft Heinz. I mean, long-term lows here for KHC, down to $22 essentially this morning. Berkshire going to get rid of their, I think it was 23% stake in the company. So Berkshire, without Warren Buffett, going in another direction, trying to
It's like they're doing it immediately, right? It's I know you liked having Dairy Queen and eating McDonald's and, drinking a Coke. Kraft dinner, I don't know if it really fits our portfolio and ketchup, so we're going to go a different direction.
Yeah, so not a good look here for Kraft Heinz, down better part of $2 in the pre-market. Again, Berkshire going to exit entirely from KHC. But let's talk about mining, because I mean, gold all-time highs, silver just absolutely ripping right now as well. 2 days in a row here, right back to highs.
Yep.
Seems like every time you come and sit in this chair, it's one of those days once again. So
we should tell silver companies. I'm going to be on. Just start ringing
all-time highs.
Yeah.
But we wanted to focus a little bit on Venezuela. We had this conversation last time Rahim was with us, talked about the oil side of this story, kind of went away very quickly. But the mining side of this story, or the potential for the mining side of this story, I think is more long-term and a little bit early even, which gives people a little bit of opportunity here because they do have substantial opportunity down there.
Yeah, and the way you always look at mining, and we talk about this consistently, is closeology and who are you near and what's happening in that region. Because what we all know with mining and with oil, the assets are in the ground. They're not going to all of a sudden pick up and move because a politician made a decision. The rocks are the rocks, and what's in the rocks stay. And so if you look at their neighboring countries, you've got Colombia, you've got Brazil, and you've got Guyana. All three of those are major mining, or to whatever extent you want to call major, all three of those are mining hubs where companies from Canada, from the US, from Australia, from China have gone into those countries and taken mining assets. And going back 15 years, 20 years, mining was evolving in Venezuela.
Right.
And so that was happening. And there's a big company called CrystalX, and you guys can do your homework on that, CrystalLex. It's gone now. But CrystalX has a long history in Venezuela, as do Canadian juniors, because that's what Canadian companies do. They go into these smaller countries and they go and find these mining opportunities. And so if you look at those three countries that I'm talking about specifically, gold is prevalent across that region. Copper ebbs and flows throughout the region. Brazil's got your favorite lithium there, so obviously Venezuela's not gonna have lithium, but there's bauxite, there's aluminum, there's different things. But definitely gold, you wanna keep an eye on what's happening, and copper. Those two things will be there, should be there in Venezuela.
Okay, just keeping an ear on Trump's speech as well, guys. He's talking about inflation currently and how he's tackled inflation successfully. So we'll keep you posted if anything happens with that. If we take a look from a higher standpoint here, from a timeline, we talked a little bit about the oil side of this. From a timeline, it's going to take a couple of years to get what they want out of Venezuela.
Yeah.
On the mining side, is that even a conversation at this point? Like, do we even know?
I think they're definitely two different pieces of context. The infrastructure that's required for oil is large. And so what we talked about last time is you've got your short term, which is going to be in the next 2 to 5 years. The amount of investment that's going to be needed in the 10 plus years is significantly different because you need refineries, because you need all those things on the ground. With mining, it's a bit of a different ballgame.
Yeah.
In so much that you are there looking for the rock, you're removing the rock, you've got processing facilities that you can set up. I'm not saying that it's easy to do, but it's a lot easier to refine the metal, the rock, into the metal product that you're looking for versus what it takes with oil. So I don't want to call it startup costs, but the costs to do that are significantly different.
Right.
The difference is, though, you do have to go and find this rock that's got those assets.
All right, and we've talked about the importance or the potential importance of copper coming up, not only in the short term here, I think, for the build out on the AI side of things, but going forward, I mean, this is something that's not going to go away. So there is a potential market here that could be tapped. You brought a couple of names here. Just walk us through a few of these, I guess. GRZ, first of all, is on the gold side of things, a little one here in Toronto.
Yeah, that's a company. So there are two companies that we're going to talk about real quick here that are involved with that Crystal X. There's lawsuits, there's court orders, there's all those things going on. But if you look at that GRZ stock chart, it's done extremely well since the Maduro thing happened. The stock price is gone up significantly. The company just simply came out and said, we applaud the U.S. for taking this action against Maduro, and that will allow them to do what they want to do, hopefully, for their case in Venezuela, because they are trying to proceed on one or more of the Crystal X assets.
So this was, and just to highlight this, going back to when that happened, we were down at $2, $2.20 kind of thing, and now $5.50.
$5.50. So you're up over 100% on the fact that they are probably the largest of the smallest companies that are there. We are a Venezuelan mining company, not we have like an offshoot asset, but we are the bigger of the Venezuelan mining assets for sure.
Right. Another one here that looks almost better, RML, Rusoro Mining?
Rusoro, yeah.
Yeah.
So same thing, they're in court, Grizzly and Rusoro, and there's another private investment entity that's involved in a Delaware court. You can do all the homework. I'm not going to bore anybody. You guys can go watch Trump if you want to get bored. If you want to learn about what's happening specifically with this Crystal X divestiture by the Venezuelan government. But Rusoro is another one. They might be the net beneficiaries of some of these mining assets that might come out of this Venezuelan Crystal X mess that's there.
Just be aware, guys, if you're watching the market, Trump's speaking about Europe now and some of the policies aimed at the tax side of things and economic growth. So no movement as far as the market is concerned right now, but I'll keep you posted on that. Let's continue along here. AGI, one we've mentioned on this show many, many times, again, on the gold side of things. This thing's had a challenging couple of months here, or a couple of weeks anyways. This is a 15-minute chart. We're back to basically range highs for AGI, which is a Lamos gold.
Yeah, and we're just throwing that one in there. We're throwing a couple of these guys, just so you know, we're throwing these ones in there as these are regional, again, larger of the small. We can talk about Newports, Barracks, Freeports. They're all probably going to be doing work in Venezuela. We assume that'll happen. And again, those are easier homework pieces to do. We're just going to give you a couple of these larger of the small that might end up with assets there because they have regional infrastructure, regional intelligence, and people on the ground in the Americas. So Alamos, if you look at that one, I mean, if you look at the 2-3 year chart, it's a beautiful chart. It's done extremely well, and their bigger assets are in Mexico, but they do have mining assets in Latin America, Central America. So that might be a company that might be able to be a net beneficiary of a particular asset or be able to joint venture into there.
And how much is that going to come into play here as far as their reach, their ability to be at that table, to have those conversations, to get in there?
I think it's significantly important because there's 3 large mining, well, 4 if you want to call it. So there's Russia, and they're not going to be allowed in. There's China, and they might not be allowed in. And then you've got Canada, and you've got the U.S. and Australia. So Canada, Australia are probably similar, and then the U.S. Because you've got language, because you've got nearby resources where you can deploy engineers, people, teams, you can move them from here to here pretty quickly. Like again, if you look at some of these companies that have assets, whether it's Guyana, Brazil, Colombia, even as far as Mexico, into South America, you've got a good dearth of mining intelligence, mining expertise, on-the-ground intelligence that you're going to need to do what you want to do.
Yeah, here's another one, looks great. Seabridge Gold, again here in Toronto, right back to basically highs.
Yeah, Seabridge, they're more, they don't really touch the copper lens. They're all-time highs because they do have significant silver exposure, for sure. And they've also got gold. And so we're just throwing that one in there as a name to keep an eye out for because they are in, call it the region They do have on-the-ground expertise, and they are subject matter experts when it does come to gold. So that one will be interesting. And if you want the offshoot of the fact that they are in silver, you're seeing a good trajectory on that name.
All right, Trump talking about China currently, guys. Just keeping an ear on comments coming out of Davos. So market not really doing anything, kind of shrugging this off so far, but we'll keep you posted if anything comes across. Is this, in your mind, an opportunity in the next, 6 months, year, 2 years kind of thing?
It's a really interesting question. I think from a Canadian-centric or US-centric mining, if you've got your real mining hat on, not simply an investor hat on, but if you've got your real mining hat on, I think there's a massive opportunity. Again, because the rocks are the rocks, they're there. You know what's probably there. Are companies going to be able to take advantage of that? The short answer is yes. Can Raheem and Brendo go start a company, put $100,000 in the bank and go find a mining asset? No, because there are much bigger boys that are going there to play that game, right? Sure. So unless you guys want to invest in whatever we're creating, we'll let you know. But I doubt that Brendan and I can go do that. So subject matter expertise is going to be important. Closeology is going to be important. And quite frankly, it's going to come down to, you might know all these things, but do you also have the political backing? Yeah. And the cash, stock / capital backing. Yeah. Those are going to be the two most important things. So, a random company that's simply got assets in one country, like say in Canada, I doubt they're going to be able to walk in and say, hey, we'd like to pick up some Venezuelan assets. But companies that probably have some closeology will be better affected by that. And then American companies, again, if you're politically connected, you've probably got a better shot.
And I think that's going to be the narrative and the story going forward. So we'll keep an eye out for anything that comes our way anyways across this desk for anything in Venezuela as far as mining is concerned. Worth a watch. Raheem Alani's Managing Director at OCI Groups here in Toronto. Thanks for this.
Thank you, and thanks for Brendan, doing the listening to Trump and listening to me, held the conversation together.
1 year on this side, 1 year.
It was fantastic to see. I got to give a birthday shout out to my little nephew. He's probably watching, so happy birthday to him. And thanks for tuning in for everyone that did, because the other guy, I don't know. It's a bit of a
talking.
He's still going. No, his will be way longer than me. So unless you guys want me to stay on for the full 90-minute diatribe that he probably has, I'm gonna go.
He's on to Europe. It looks like right now. Trump is. Anyways, thanks.
Thank you, Raheem. I was just going to say, in our ear, where as soon as you guys were talking about Venezuela, Trump started talking about Venezuela. Yeah. So I actually think that I'm trying to say that Trump is following us over here, Raheem.
I don't disagree.
He's like, what is this Raheem guy saying?
He knows what's good.
But we also know that we have to tell you guys about PDS Biotechnology. This is symbol PDSB on the Nasdaq. They are transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer with initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the US in just a few years. Please go over and learn more at pdsbiotech.com. That's pdsbiotech.com to learn more. So thanks, Raheem, for all of that. It doesn't look like the market's moving too much, but some good information there. Which names to look at if you're going to go country specific. Obviously, we have natural resources, all the rage here as we start early here in 2026. Silver, gold, nat gas. We saw nat gas up 22% today as well. So find those mining names, find those wells, get everything going on there, and figure it all out. So. There it is right there. What do we think of, what is this question? Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Good. Well, what's your opinion on silver today?
Oh, on silver.
You think us, the U.S. keeps the $10 difference between China and
That's the problem on this thing. It's hard to see which one's
the all caps is just throwing me. So the U.S. Between the silver price. Yeah.
Silver's been trading higher in China a lot.
Look, ultimately, there's been a long history of... whatever. There's been a long history of manipulation of silver prices, so you can have that stay out of whack for a very long time. To think of that as some big time arbitrage opportunity that's going to work itself out for you, it's not going to be that simple. It just kind of never has been. So I just stick to working on the price action. What I think of it today is, I have a bad dark pool wick on both days. I'll try to get rid of those. But if you looked at yesterday, so what did it do? We dipped into prior high and bounced. And that was your move. You got a couple bucks out of it on silver. And if you looked at last week how we ended, it had dipped, so we were consolidating, but the dips were kind of holding on to this prior close. So once it finds a dip level, it held it the next day. I'm going to go with that basis. You know, that if we get some kind of a fail to break out the fresh top, if gold is going to be stronger again potentially, then I think a dip back into 84 is going to be the place to go, 84, 84 a quarter. So I'm looking for that first inside move to try and pull back and make a double bottom like it did on Thursday and Friday. So that'll be my look for silver. If it ends up breaking out, I feel like those types of days are a little bit easier when we're just trend up all day long. When it's just trend up all day long, just playing VWAP and that kind of thing is easier to follow, but I'm waiting for the dip back into prior high again. Hold that 84 level on SLV in particular. So hopefully that helps. I just wouldn't count on the arbitrage opportunities there. Silver's pretty manipulated. I stick to the intraday price action.
Here's an early play for Trump right now, apparently speaking on nuclear energy right now. So there goes SMR. So, you know, these are the kind of plays that we're talking about. Obviously, the market's rebounding nicely right here. But there he goes, Trump talking about how, you know, the United States continues to be the AI leader and, you know, nuclear power is going to be a thing. I'm going to wait, you know, Adair's going to come through. We're going to talk about all the news as it hits. But there it goes, just out of nowhere here. SMR starting to get raised up there. I don't know if it's every nuclear name. Nano nuclear also going here. And E. So some of these names now starting to get going a little bit here on Trump news. So there it goes, up about $1. It looks like SMR is the one catching all of the volume right now. So there we go. So watch out. Oh, okay. Now he's talking about European energy is at all-time lows. And of course, you know, everyone in the States is building. So here we go. This is a good America First talk, which obviously it should be. And here we go, man, 2010. There we go, man, SMR. So hopefully you had Trump's ear, someone did last night or whatever, and told them about nuclear energy, because if you were long SMR there, you got it. So there it goes, man. All right, so this is just one of those plays, man. We're going to be seeing these hopefully over the next, well, I think it was supposed to be about a 45-minute speech or so. So we'll see probably about halfway through right now. We'll see what winds up happening here with stocks like SMR. So there we go, a nice move up there. OKLO is on our watch list there with news, but there goes Oklo as well. So this is what we're doing, man.
They just got an upgrade, that's all.
Yeah, oh yeah, they only got an upgrade, yeah, but there it goes, man. So they're starting to get going here on some nuclear news, but it's all piling through here. So there you go, Brendan. One story here to start with. Nuclear, I think, is going to be the first sort of sector that starts bouncing around here. I think the next one we could see some energy talk. If he starts talking about Venezuela, he starts talking about oil. So we'll see. There goes SMR right now, guys.
It was a very, very quick headline. I'll throw it up there. That was the actual comment that came across from Trump. And then he moved right on to talk about oil, and he talked about solar very quickly. So as the guys were saying, there goes all the nuclear stocks just ripping on that one very quick comment.
Yeah.
So this is how, and this is what we were saying yesterday, we could get any kind of, you know, mention or industry talk that will just make something rip for
and he's
a couple minutes.
Calling it the green new scam, as he typically does. Donald Trump being Donald Trump, basically saying he's canceled all the wind deals, how Europe's underbuilt energy infrastructure, the United States accelerating it for data centers. He's not going to pass off the money to the consumers. He's looking at corporations, especially these big hyperscalers, to pick up the tab. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that, but nothing new that he's speaking out there. No new projects that he's announcing or anything like that for the moment, Brendo. But Oklo Energy did have an upgrade this morning on the back of the deal that they had signed with Meta. Bank of America liking them over here, if I can just pull this up. Yeah, there we go. Bank of America upgrading Oklo from neutral to buy and raising the price target from 111 to 127. Basically, with that binding agreement that they have with Meta, he calls the deal a meaningful step forward, noting it provides tangible proof of execution and counterparty commitment. So I'll have to see how this all works out.
Just reading more on this windmills. So he's talking about solar and clean energy still, saying China sells windmills but doesn't even use them themselves. They build, manufacture, make, and sell windmills, but then they use coal to actually power their power plants. So, as you were saying,
but he's crapping on Europe here. But to be quite honest with you, China has outbuilt the United States when it comes to energy infrastructure.
Oh,
and
massive,
it's not even close,
especially on the nuclear side. But I mean, he's sounding a little bit friendly here. I mean, saying he wants Europe, he wants the UK to quote unquote do great.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll keep listening here and make sure we bring anything of relevance, guys. Worth noting that KHC, Kraft Heinz, talked about that with Raheem, or just before we spoke with Raheem. If you missed it, Berkshire out entirely, or going to be out entirely. 20+ stake in Kraft Heinz. They're selling all of it. So KHC guys at the lows.
Yeah, they filed to sell their entire stake. I mean, it doesn't mean it's been completed yet, and I suppose, I mean, you could file and not do it, or do it in whatever timely fashion you want to, but not looking good for Kraft Heinz. You can hide in dividends all you want, but ultimately, it's a losing game if the stock just continues to falter. Maybe you get a relief rally in Heinz off of this, but I tend to think if there's any pops, they should be faded today. It hasn't done even 1 million shares in pre-market volume. Like, I'm pretty sure SMR or like Oklo or the nuclear names we're talking about probably just did that in the last couple of minutes. So this is not going to be a volume maven by any stretch. But if it just holds under VWAP, you got to figure this should be a name on the radar. It's on my radar. I had the 23 level written down if it had popped, but that was well before we had broken $22, which we just did. So I got to look at the volume weighted average price, maybe this $0.50 area to fade pops. And I would imagine it's got to be easy to borrow for sure. So it's not a very good headline, but I mean, let's be real. Is anybody surprised that Berkshire or anybody would be dumping this name? Just because you have a brand, just because you have a going concern or generate quality revenues, all that kind of thing, you can be an existing company that still employs people and does good things, but it doesn't mean that you have the growth that the market's looking for. So unfortunately, Kraft, not good. I can't see too much of a reason for this to get back to the prior lows on the daily, so I'll be looking to fade.
Yeah, it's really like now you just don't have that bottom support anymore, right? So if they're going to be starting to sell those shares, then ETFs and everything are going to probably follow as well. So not a great job there by Kraft Heinz to hold that bid. I mean, I just read it, 325 million shares, like a lot. 28% stake in the company being basically dissolved, like, you know, selling that. Someone's got to sit there and buy it. So this is going to be probably a downside trend here for a minute. It takes some time to unwind that. That's what I'm saying. So wait a couple minutes to see what's going on there. Wow, Johnson & Johnson expects free cash flow of $21 billion. So that's a decent number there. And I want to buy some J&J, but it looks like it's starting to tick back up just a little bit right here. So Greenland, Trump saying he has great respect for the people of Greenland and Denmark. So we'll see where that goes moving forward here. But yeah, I still really like J&J. Too bad about KHC there. But Heinz, I guess there are other kinds after all. But good move. You know, the thing about Berkshire is they're not even doing that well anyways. No. So BRK.B sitting on all this cash. You think that the cash would be king right around now. Where are they going to deploy it? I guess everybody wonders. And then with the pullback recently in some of the banks, the insurance companies and whatnot, you do see a nice little pull down here on Berkshire, a name that does not pay any dividends, right? Always gets reinvested back, sits there in cash, and has to get some ideas going. So idea generator maybe is what they're lacking now at Berkshire. But we'll have to wait to see what their next report is now that Warren's officially sort of out of there. You can clearly see they're selling these legacy positions. So I like Berkshire here. I mean, just a matter of trying to figure out where they're going and if you like the direction. Like if they come out and say, oh, we bought a lot of whatever, Texas Instruments, and you like that name, then it might be worth getting involved. You know, it's kind of just like a managed ETF there, Berkshire. So
they're gonna have to. They got to do something with the cash. It's getting when the market's at highs like this. At some point, you just start getting crapped on, which seems like it's happening to critical metals a little bit here. The second we heard Greenland out of the mouth of the president, we're already heading to the downside. Critical metals had a disappointing day yesterday as well. Like, it's dropped at the open $2.
Yeah.
It dropped more than $2 at the open before you're even catching a bid. So this move, not as bad as it was right at 9:30. So unfortunately, anybody that kind of bought the top on this, they very good out to 50. So very good last week, but it is making a bit of a topping tail. Let's see where it settles down. I think the $15 level is going to be big for critical metals. And as the president speaks, one name well, I shouldn't say one name, one group goes up because it was the entire nuclear group goes to the upside, and it looks like some of the rare earth names to the downside. MP with a small drop, but not that bad. Is checking MP materials. They're still up 1%. There was a slight down, like a very, very slight downtick here, but it's really critical metals that's moving the most. So a lot to cover. President's still talking.
Rip, something just happened.
Google.
He's saying the U.S. alone can protect Greenland or something. I don't know. We just have a big spike there in the futures on the Nasdaq and then right back in. So I don't know what just happened right there, but he's definitely saying something here, as it doesn't look that major on the Qs, I guess. Maybe we just overreacted there, but we went from 607 up to 608. Look at the volume really starting to come in right now, seeking immediate acquisition of Greenland, wants to get talking about it immediately. That's what I'm hearing in my ear. So I guess the Nasdaq in the market maybe likes that. I don't know. So here we go, man.
Gold and silver dropping.
Yeah. Okay. So damn it. So I have on my sticky note. That's okay. I don't think the game's not over here. I have written down here silver as a idea for short. So I just thought eventually we start to come back in. We'll wait to see if that's a play. But as Neil said, dropping a little bit right now. But here we go, man. Oh, Greenland is not a threat to NATO or something? Anyways, there's lots of stuff going on right now. You can see silver moving around, as is the SPY, as we start to talk hopefully a little bit more positively about the market. We already heard U.S. strength. There goes the Nasdaq. Here goes the S&P 500. So, you know, did you buy the dip yesterday? You know, we always say that stuff. You know, you always get that FOMO, like, what have I done? I sold. Look, man, the market is flat right now. It's up 0.5. And 0.05, my bad, right there. And just as it goes up, you know, one more word out of his mouth could completely switch it, or could get it going even more. So there he goes, man. We know that this man is the president of the market, and we were just at all-time highs according to the Dow Jones just last week. So let's see what winds up happening right here as the market seems to like what we're hearing. Nasdaq upside, everything's starting to go.
Yeah, even Netflix just caught a bit of a bid. Netflix earnings, we'll get into that a little bit as we get into the rundown. But Netflix with a small bounce. Tesla broke the 420 level. The Nasdaq only got to VWAP though. Let's put things into perspective. Really, like we're basically a small fraction of the down move that we had. Let's see what happens if like the Qs get to 611, where the morning support was. That's going to be a big level to watch. It was all the support and then only downside when we faded it. So again, lots to cover. You can even see us pulling back now. So the Nasdaq back to flat, nothing too crazy. But it does prove that all of the action has been based on the president, whether it was critical metals, whether it was the small move in the futures we just had there, or certainly the nuclear names, which have to be on watch. But let's.
The futures are tanking.
Oh no, now we're tanking.
Yeah, now the Nasdaq is down 0.05, Neil.
Meanwhile, SMR has held the move.
Oh my God, what am I going to do?
The nuclear names are the bigger play for sure. But let's get on to start the rundown, because we have a watch list full of interesting names, including one that reported that not too many people are happy with.
All right, yeah, he's still talking about Greenland, guys. The way he kind of flew through everything else, you know, inflation, energy, taxes. He talked about Europe a little bit. He's been talking about Greenland now for better part of 10 minutes. So there are a few comments, you know, here and there in the U.S. strength direction. So we'll keep an eye on the futures here. But yeah, coming right back in. Let's have a look at those futures to get going. We are on the way back to the downside, but holding on to some of these levels from yesterday.
Yeah, 677.50, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're still above that key area low that we put back in the middle to end of December. That was about 671.5. So 675, our first area of support. If we catch a bid, if the market likes what it's hearing, we're looking at yesterday's general area open at around 684, Brendo, as resistance.
Trump just saying people will, quote unquote, people will soon be prosecuted for the 2020 election. That's a very broad statement, but again, Trump just saying, quote unquote, people will soon be prosecuted for the 2020 election in this speech. So, as I said, we're kind of bouncing all over the place. Some things about the market, some not so much. But let's talk about Netflix to kick things off here this morning. Bouncing with the overall market back to the upside, but 80.81 comes into play early on this morning as support. How long that will hold probably depends more on the market at this point than it does on Netflix. If you missed it, though, most of the numbers pretty good. Only thing we have to really be concerned about is higher costs going into their next year on the production side of things, and higher costs potentially around this Warner Brothers deal.
Yeah, and reporting that they had 325 million global paid subscribers. That is the first time they've mentioned their membership updates in about a year, a little bit more. Management did acknowledge the intensifying competition, but they emphasized the quality and the breadth as the main retention lever. So how'd they do financially? Q4 EPS came in at 56 pennies, barely above the estimates of 55, while revenue reached 12.05 billion, ahead of the 11.97 billion expected. Net income, though, did rise nicely here, about 2.42 billion. That's up from 1.87 last year, so a healthy profitability there. Revenue did grow about 18% year over year, basically driven by subscriber additions as well as higher prices and what they're calling accelerated ad revenue. Let's talk a little bit about that ad revenue, because their 2025 ad revenue grew 2.5 times what it was in 2024, bringing in $1.5 billion, a little bit more, and they're projecting roughly a doubling of that in 2026. So we should be looking possibly at around $3 billion in ad revenue. They did reaffirm the proposed $72 billion all-cash acquisition of Warner Brothers, and to pay for that, Brendo, they're going to pause share buybacks.
Yeah, market still kind of chopping around here, guys. He's on to NATO again, so talking directly about the costs associated to NATO right now.
Yeah, and just now also Kerrisdale Capital saying they are short a firm, so a short firm basically putting out a short report on these guys, which have been actually pretty good, especially since, well, if you go back to April, everything's been good, but they have been trending pretty well. This could be interesting if you lose the 200 period moving average on the daily. But as far as Netflix goes, sometimes, you know what, the market seems really hung up on, I think, two things. I mean, debt is going to be a concern here, and then when you're making this big acquisition, that just furthers those concerns. I would love to see, it'd be nice if this was the low. I'm not completely convinced. If you're, the 82 level on the daily is too big for us not to see some bounce above it and buyers above that level before getting bullish again. So you've lost major support on the daily and the weekly. If we get to 10% down, then I'd certainly look for like some kind of an SSR bounce. But I'm not just thinking automatic relief rally unless we regain some of that key support. I'm just going to use split adjusted chart to quickly show you. Like on a monthly chart, it's like 82 down here that's so big, and then you throw out like even a weekly chart as well for Netflix. And there's the support level. We're gapped down underneath it. If we're not at least challenging to regain that, then I think this is kind of like a dead cat bounce on day one, and you want to give it the old, give it some time to breathe. Whether it makes a low today and holds it tomorrow, or next week it's still above this 80 level, we're regaining 82, then I think it's a good place to round into it. It's starting to get cheap on a PE basis as well. Like it's going to creep. I believe it'll be creeping down into the hopefully under 20s, certainly close to it on Netflix, which gets even more appealing. But I think you still give it a couple of days. If it gets 10% down, I am looking for an SSR bounce, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think Trump just said he was going to build a Netflix studio in Greenland there. So that should be exciting for Netflix. Oh, my mic is all messing up again. Okay, well, I don't know. You know, I think the thing is, it's these battery packs, because they keep on switching. Now I think you're fine, but my battery, I don't know. Anyways. We'll get the thanks, Andre. So it's good now. Yeah, but just joking about Netflix there with Greenland, of course. But yeah, no, I have it written down on the sticky note. I don't think there's anything wrong with just giving it a go at $80. So right into here for Netflix. I have $80 long. Let's just see if it holds, and then maybe it gaps down there, reaches something around that $80. I think it's worth a try. And let's see if it can recover from these earnings, right? I mean, it's just one of those names again. Oh, they're building a golden dome now. We already know about that. That will also defend Canada. Yahoo right there. So that's good for us. But okay, there goes, I wonder how much that's going to cost us, just a couple nuclear power plants. $80.35 is, ooh, Canada lives because of the US. Remember that, Carney. Ouch. This is not going to be good for Canada, I don't think, anymore. But down here, $80 flat right there for Netflix. I think it's worth a try. That won't be SSR, so that is the dangerous thing. I do think that if we do break through 80 bucks, you want to get out of here. Maybe you give it to 79.50 or so, but this would be a level for me to just to have a quick look. You know, now we're finally moving that 7%. That was the implied move. So we get down 7%. Maybe now we bump from here. So it's all lining up to try an 80 long. You know, as we said, I guess a lot of these stink bids, I guess, got filled. So we're going to wait now to see what winds up happening with Netflix down at these levels. Like we said, if you're dollar cost averaging, you know, there's nothing wrong with some of these levels. There's SMR. I was having a quick look at that. And here's Netflix. I know we just showed you the monthly chart. Here's a daily chart coming right into some of these levels. So, you know, this is 80 bucks below right now. So we're going to have to wait to see if we wind up holding. I think it looks good to me. Not a bad opportunity to pick up some Netflix shares today. Down 7% if you like the space. I would be interested to hear eventually what that PE gets down to, as Neil mentioned, because that's the market is punishing high PE names that are profitable. Like we have Palantir that's been getting hit. They're bringing back battleships. Lots going on right now as President Trump continues to talk. And there goes the Nasdaq, up 0.27. Here goes the SPY as well, up about 1/4 of a point now too. So there we go, man. Up 1/3 of a point now is the S&P 500. So, all right, looks like you know, President Trump is sort of quelling a little bit of this negativity in the market, and we are starting to head back upside. So let's go find out what, you know, the metals and some of these markets are reacting right now this morning.
Taco.
Yeah, Oppo, okay, downside.
Still on NATO is President Trump talking a little bit about the importance of Greenland when it comes to NATO and the importance of Greenland being controlled by the U.S. for that purpose. Let's talk, these metals, quick reversal back down on some of this, I guess, positivity surrounding some equities this morning. But here's SLV, was the higher of the two going into yesterday. We're right back into some support areas, though, for silver specifically. Gold not really reacting as much.
Yeah, gold off the highs, but still up 2% here, Brendo. GLD, as gold prices surged past 4,800 bucks an ounce. That is the fresh record territory as investors flocked to safe havens amid, of course, the escalating geopolitical tensions. The U.S. dollar also weakened, though, on that, which is widening the political risk. Broader commodities also reflected some risk aversion there. But here's the deal. Gold's role as a crisis hedge, you know, amid the trade war fears, tariffs, fracturing global alliances, is making it more attractive because the U.S. dollar has further supported gold's gains. You know, other people with other currency other than the U.S. dollar are able to buy gold with more buying power than they had a little while ago. Analysts are marking possibly $5,000 by this year. They're also saying they expect declines in U.S. real estate, potential Fed easing, and ongoing central bank buying to continue to buoy gold. So we'll have to see where this ends up.
Speaking positively right now, Trump is speaking positively right now on the potential for the deal to come out of the Davos meeting between him and Zelensky, which apparently is going to take place today, guys, with Russia and Ukraine. So he has a really positive tone so far on certain global issues anyways.
Yeah, and that's when you look at the move that's happening in both the ES and Nasdaq, obviously the markets in general, you're seeing a bit of a slide back, not all the way through on silver and gold. Like here, I'll quickly just throw up gold first when we talk silver. Like gold lost the bid, so it's looking much weaker than SLV, and again, it was also stronger in the first place, so there is that to consider. But SLV, I still look at yesterday's low as a place to think about, and that'll be 84. It's 84.25 area, like this prior high going back into Thursday, and then yesterday's low was more like 84.4. But I'm just looking into the quarter at first, and then the 84 level for a bit of a bounce spot. Like it's been a mean reversion play on silver, on the dips. Like let it dip, and then it changes trend, and then you just go long for a bit. And sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's the entirety of the day that you get that uptrend. But it's done it every single session. I mean, literally every session, there has been a reversion from a clear downward trend into a long. So that's what I'm looking for almost on a daily basis here. And the first look will be at essentially just yesterday's low.
Yeah, for silver. So I have, I had written it down here for 86.50 long, short, sorry. So I just, I think eventually silver comes back in. We've been shorting it. Once it's gotten to highs, it has, given us, levels to support or resist. And I think we got one here as well. So like if you had just taken this trade yesterday, it gave you $2. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out here today. Look, if silver rips, we can get out of this thing at $87. So I'm going to try it. I'm sitting there at 86.50 for the trade. I mean, it's going, as we had mentioned here, looks like some of the attention has focused over to gold today, as gold was higher, up to 2 and a bit percent. So still 2%, and silver's flat. So I just wonder if there's a potential rotation here. Silver's gone a little parabolic, needless to say. And then gold as a safety, I think still makes sense. So I know Sharif was just mentioning that as a little bit of a hedge there against market uncertainty. I think gold wins for that, and I think it still does. Although with the market at all-time highs, you wouldn't expect also gold to be there. So I think there's other reasons for gold heading higher here. It's really strange. For me, the disconnect is with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, with gold at all-time high and silver at all-time high, Bitcoin was supposed to be that hedge against all this uncertainty, and it seems like it's going the opposite right now as Bitcoin down to 89,000. We'll talk about all that in a minute. But here we go, man. It's Tesla right now. Metals ripping, not so much today, but we'll see if it continues its upward trend as this market opens in 10 minutes.
Talking about stock buybacks, guys, just be aware, a little bit of market commentary from Trump basically saying stock market's still going to double from here. So we'll see if Trump's forecast is correct. Tesla, not doubling yet, but definitely on the way back to the upside here along with the overall market.
A lot of overlap between President Trump and Senator Warren these days, Brendo. Little eye-opening there. Tesla CEO Elon Musk cautioned that early production of the Cybercab as well as the Cybercab robotaxi and Optimus humanoid will be, quote, agonizingly slow. He highlighted the manufacturing complexity as a bottleneck, kind of noting production speed is inversely correlated with new parts. Both these are new, so they have a lot of new parts. Both platforms are built largely from scratch. He said, look, the Cybercab is a two-seater with no steering wheel, and it's on track for volume production in 26 with limited operation testing already underway. And back in December, he confirmed robotaxis were being tested without a safety monitor. Optimus, though, expected to get or to begin volume production by the end of this year. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of Tesla's valuation is based, of course, on future.
We are on to Biden now, briefly here, guys, as far as the Trump speech goes. So bouncing all over the place.
Probably a lot of positive things he's going to say about Biden. So let's see what winds up happening here. I'm going to go long the Biden ETF. I think it's SLEEP, I think, is the acronym for that.
Oh, man, lazy boy.
I just hope the well for, but I don't know. I mean, I know he was having some issues. Was it cancer or something? I just hope for the best for Joe Biden, of course. So we're just playing around.
I think for Tesla, I mean, I know, look, let's be real, the rundown of those topics, they got put down before the market got rallied here. So let's be real. Tesla now up a full percentage point, broke through the 420 level. As I was saying earlier, like it gets more interesting for the stock if it gets past this. I'm just make a line for you here. 424 was all morning and then into the afternoon. It wasn't until like 1:30 that you broke that bid. And where did this move just stall out? Right at that 424 level. So I think that's the big one to watch. Still overall, I think it's in the penalty box, but that doesn't necessarily mean that for today, you can't have a good relief type rally brought to you by the president. So I want to see a 15-minute candle close above 424. I don't want to add Tesla to my list. I sort of feel like there's things that you were prepared to trade. If something this morning that jumped out of nowhere is going to get added for me, it'd be more like the nuclear names like an SMR than a Tesla. That said, if we close above 424 on the 15-minute chart, then I think you have the makings of at least a semi-break and can get back into the 30 level. But I'll let it settle down in the first 15 minutes before chasing this move on Tesla, at least. Like I said, I think in terms of things that got said, relative volume in SMR is pretty good, and I'm kind of looking at the 19.8 level. If we hold 19.8 off the open, see if that one can run into, it'll be Thursday's highs.
It's funny, I just have to send this in. Biden 2028, that's too funny. Okay, so, you want to talk about an EV name that's basically in hell right now. That's Rivian. Rivian's down 28% from its highs. So, whoopsies, get rid of this right there. So it's high $23, down to 16 and change right there. That's not great, man. You've lost a lot of money sitting in Rivian over the last 3 weeks. You know, I think you're getting into a level where you may want to buy Rivian. I mean, as you wait for the R2 to come through, that could be, you know, a nice little, I mean, if they can get the costs under wraps there, Rivian. But we had that great short through 18 that one day, then it broke through 17, and fortunately it held 16, but wondering if that's sort of the next area there. So let's watch out for 16 there on Rivian, just another name. And then Ford has also pulled back a little bit. We've seen that high, I believe, was 1450 or so. Yeah, exactly, on Ford, and that has had now, you know, 10 straight down days or so. Maybe that's only 7, but all the way to the downside right here into your 50-period moving average, which has been also, you know, basically a fantastic since tariffs. That's April. So we've just kept on bouncing off of here. So good little level there. Obviously, you've missed the top, but yeah, Ford looking pretty good. And then GM, they're all pulling back in, which is what I'm just trying to show you that there's other names. Rivian pulling back into the 50, Ford pulling back into the 50. Here's GM pulling back into the 50, and Tesla. So it's not an individual story with Tesla. This is sort of a market-wide here for some of the automotive EV names. So, you know, just stay put with Tesla. I don't think you're buying it or trading it with any concern for the EV market. You're doing it for many other reasons, as we continuously discuss on the show pretty much every single day. All right, semis again. Yeah, another thing we always touch on here. A big part of the market. Let's go figure out what the story today is and how we're going to trade them.
Yeah, just talking about some drug pricing and medical stuff right now is Trump. NVIDIA back to highs here currently. Some of the semiconductors trying to lead. We haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, he was there. Jensen was there in Davos this morning, gave a wide-ranging interview, made a lot of different statements. You guys can go and have a look at what he said there. He also mentioned that he is going to be heading to China late January. He wants to go ahead of the, I believe it's the Lunar New Year. Obviously, he's looking to basically reignite demand for the H200 after the Chinese regulator basically told their companies and the customs authorities not to allow it into the country. So Jensen trying to do damage control separately. NVIDIA is making an acquisition here focusing on AI inference. They are investing $150 million. We reported this to you guys yesterday later in the day, but a newer headline nonetheless. $150 million into Bastion, which is an AI inference startup that just raised $300 million. Sorry, yeah, $300 million at a $5 billion valuation. The funding round was led by Capital G, which is the independent growth fund of Alphabet. A lot of focus on inference, Brendo. Basically, this article's positioning inference as the next major wave of AI, with training and training models kind of in the rear view.
Getting on in time here, just real quick. UAL to the upside, guys, after earnings, better than expected earnings from UAL and their forecast. Here is SMR as well, back to highs again, heading through 2015, 2020 right now. For SMR, some of the nuclear names popped up early on. If you're just joining after Trump said they were going to invest heavily in the space in the U.S. So that was straight out of the speech that is continuing.
That's right, still continuing, and we'll let you guys know. Cooper to the ground, as we always do. Adair will mosey on in after the opening bell. Just a couple of notes on the imbalances here. Nothing crazy. Netflix, 700,000 to buy. Intel, 660,000 to buy. SMR, 340,000 to the buy side. Everything, I mean, small buys, but mostly buys. IBIT's a small sell, 250,000. But Intel's broken. It's through 50. It's through 54, so this is, the second it opens up, if it's above 50.40, then this is a fresh 52-week high here for Intel. Look, I'm not going to chase this. Every single day for the last 3 days, there's been a topping tail candle off 50. All it has to do to buck that trend is close the candle over $50. So if it can sustain the first dip buy, then I want to be a buyer over 50 today. But I have to let it prove that it can do it, because every other time over 50, it has been an absolute dumpster. If it does another topping tail, then it ends up being a short. So I'm going to be watching Intel right away off of the open. IBIT starting to pull back on that sell imbalance. This is one, I'm not believing in Bitcoin as much as the rest of the market. This was the one short that, you know, there's shorts that were good half the day. Bitcoin was a short all day long. So if it doesn't get back above the 51 level, then I'm looking short to there. If it breaks out, I'd still look at yesterday's highs on BTC. Small sell imbalance, pulling back a little bit here as the market continues to strengthen.
Yeah, look, I mean, NVIDIA was down 4.5% yesterday. Like, you never get these kind of moves on NVIDIA. Like, so I am expecting a little bit of a pullback here to pull up, I guess, back into some of these levels today. But, like, we just rallied $1 and dropped $1. So it's just like, I still feel short on this name, honestly. Like, we felt short on AMD yesterday and got ran over early. So I'm not 100% certain of, you know, getting into this, but if we can get back, no, that's the wrong chart. If we can get back to 240, I mean, that is a short for me on AMD again, but let's calm down on that one. I do think, like, I know I have the Qs written down here as a short, but the tide has sort of turned right here, and I'm sort of thinking now about some longs. I still like the SLV short. I like the Netflix long at $80. And if we can get back into some of these lows, like 49.80, 49.60 on Intel, I think that's definitely something to look at. So I'm going to be hitting the keys today for sure.
It's dropped.
Yeah, it's like the market is coming back in here. It's not like it's all clear. So I don't know. It's either going to be a short or a long today. So there's my analysis. But no, you know, the big one for me would be Alibaba. We didn't even really get over to that today, but Alibaba nicely cooking there on the upside as we talk about some power acquisitions there, and then SMR continues to go. Here we go, man. The opening bell is about to ring right there. So there we go. And it's now 9:30. I want to thank everybody and thank Ogen here for the opening bell. But there goes the market. It is coming back in. We did talk about shorting the TQs up there at 51.25. We do have a high now of 51.40. Let's just chill out a little bit here and see what this market wants to do. It is pulling back here now that this market is open. So there's the TQs. And then I have silver on watch. If that gets going, 86.50 is the short that I'm looking for on SLV. There's Miss Adara, so she's ready to rock.
SMR already breaking out the highs. So
going higher, eh?
Obviously, it's gonna open well above that 19.8 level prior.
Intel is, you should see Intel.
For sure.
You should see what Intel's doing.
Yeah,
Go have a look.
Well, that's literally what made me speechless for a second. So Intel, well, I guess that first 15-minute candle is going to close above 50.
What the hell?
Intel just went absolutely ham. What in the heck is AMD doing?
What is going on with Intel, though? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, NVIDIA, this has to come back, man. Why did Intel just do that?
NVIDIA did, or AMD did pop, but Intel, that's...
We didn't even have a story on Intel, did we, today? Like, that is ridiculous.
President's long at 19 and he hasn't sold.
I almost feel like shorting. I almost feel like
What
just
the
shorting the
heck
league.
was
You know
that?
what? Out of this one,
That-
right here. Okay, President Trump talking about naming a interim or naming a new Fed chair. So that'll be happening soon. I'm going to go short on the TQs against 51.50. So I wrote this down here today that I like the TQQs against 51.25. So we just made a high of 51.40. So I'm going to be in it. We will average into this at 51.25, and then we're going to go against that high. So if that happens, that happens, and we'll get stopped out. But for right now, I think that that's going to be something that I don't mind figuring this all out. You know, the EU, I don't know what the comeback's going to be here today, but this market was lower. Trump, you know, did speak relatively positively, I feel like, talking about the stock market's going to double from here. So there's been some good talk there.
When you don't give a time frame,
is Intel still pulling back?
it's pretty much always double.
Damn it, I knew that. Like, when Intel was going parabolic there, it was like, why did that just happen right off the jump? Someone, you know, with some big pockets came in there and bought the you-know-what out of Intel.
Clearly.
And I don't know if it's going to be right or wrong, but that pullback into $50 is looking mighty fine now. If we can get a drip down there, then that's a buy, man.
Oh, looks like there was a bounce in Kraft Heinz. So I don't know, maybe Berkshire Hathaway is selling Kraft Heinz and buying Intel. I have no idea. I'm just literally speculating. But the first high got put in on Kraft Heinz. I'm shorting this at pretty much every turn I can get until it breaks 23. But I'm going to give it to the prior high, which is almost 23.5, 23.45, as we're going to Adara. President's still talking.
Yeah,
we got
new
our ear to
Fed
the
chair he just mentioned.
Yeah, some comments here in crypto that IBIT moving up a little bit, at least a while ago on this. Trump saying that Congress is working on some crypto market structure regulation bills. He's hoping to sign a crypto bill soon. Now he's talking about renters. Back to you.
If he's talking about the thing you're trading, you almost want to back off.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm taking advantage of this little move here. We just got out at 10% on the I thought that's why. It's not showing my entries here because I took them off for the after show. Yeah, so just to make it more clean because I had so many Netflix fills yesterday. All right, so there's the fill at 51. There's the out right there at VWAP, basically at 80. So starting to go back to the upside right now. Bouncing clean off VWAP, not good. Not a good sign for the short. You know, you don't, just because I am short doesn't mean the short's going to work, obviously. We've seen that happen numerous times. But you don't ever want to just bounce off VWAP like that so cleanly. So that's tough right there. If you're looking long, might be a little bit of a better play. I'm still going to play short against that level there. You know, we had seen the move happen yesterday, and I don't think it's a one-day trade. I think this could continue there. The only stock, we saw Intel, SMR continuing its push, but it did get to 21.25, it looks like, or so, and now the fade back out just a little bit. So I'm still going to hold on to this short. The other play, of course, was SLV, and that's going southbound. We mentioned south on silver. But I was hoping to get an 86 fill. For now, we don't. I'm going to adjust this and get rid of this wick. But right now, market kind of flat right here, not doing much, bouncing off VWAP.
Yeah, and I think until, they have a different shot. That's all it is.
Oh, so I don't even have it up.
No, I'm like, what's different? No, they have a wide shot. So I thought maybe the president was finishing up. So the only thing I'm into is Kraft Heinz. If you're just tuning in now, Berkshire Hathaway filed to sell like 300 million some odd shares, get rid of their entire position. They haven't done so, but that's a lot. So faded the first level. If we get to the low of the day, I want to jump out of this. But we got to look at just a couple of things that we didn't talk about or refresh before the open. Netflix is catching a bid. So 92 is held. You're now back at, 82 is held. You're now back at 83. VWAP's going to be at that key 82 level, which you'll find also on the daily chart. So if it can withstand a dip into 82, I do like that for potential long. And then bringing you right back over to what was the rocket, maybe even still is the rocket ship so far this morning, is going to be Intel. So backed off the 52 level. Let's see how it responds with the volume weighted average price. It's pretty clearly, barring some kind of a abject disaster, and we're going to see this hold for the first couple of candles above $50, something it has not done at all. Like, this feels like a pretty good breakout, but it's got to withstand the first dip. That's the only place I want to get involved. And it's not just Intel, AMD strong, ARM strong. I see in the chat people mentioning that. Make sure you put in the $ in the chat, everybody, with the symbols that you're looking for. ARM's up 7% as well. So this is not necessarily just Intel, which is going ham here. ARM having a good day, and this stock has been, well, it's stunk.
Yeah, it's been bad,
recently. Yeah. There's no other better way to put it. I own some ARM, but it's stunk for a while now, looking pretty strong alongside Intel.
All right, Micron also down right now, positive on the day, but down $5. It goes down about $7 there right off the open, maybe even more, about $8, all the way down to 367. Now underneath, I think Micron gives up the bid today, and it's gone lower today. Let's wait to see what winds up happening with Micron. I mean, that's not a great start for the name. Underneath the 200, underneath VWAP, I like the short here on MU. That's for sure. We're still printing, man. Let's see if we can get this money train to really trade here. I'm bidding 74s as well, so hopefully we get a little bit of a dip down. The 74 used to be where VWAP was. I'm just going to keep my order there. There's 70s, and then after that, man, we get into the 50s, but we just bounced off of 75. So hopefully we get a little bit of a break there on the futures, and we wait to see where this market goes, because we're at VWAP right now. So this is that breaking point, man. This is why we are short right now. RCAT moving around now. Red Cat Holdings, a nice move today and yesterday. Big time. I mean, yesterday we went from 12 up to 14. Today we get up to 15 and change. Story here today with RCAT Adair, if you have it. It is RCAT, Red Cat. $16, nice high right there, trying to break through these levels. This looks pretty good to me, man. This looks like a nice, yearly breakout.
Not seeing a story on Red Cat, guys.
Okay, so good. Good for the move higher here. We can check out if there's a short float.
22%.
Okay, there it goes.
Short float is over 20%. You might not need a massive story to get that one
or no story at all, apparently. True. The market just bounced quite nicely there off of the VWAP. So, it's potential here that the market wants to get a little bit higher. Yesterday's trade that I was already in at this point was AMD. And look what AMD just did today as well. Same kind of move, man. It went all the way, it went up $6. It went from 236 up to 242 and then got faded back out now. So, wow, wild, wild, wild. Whenever there's a super chat, Andre, just throw it up there and we'll get to it, no problem. Micron's starting to go up there. Yeah, I mean, Bloom Energy has been an absolute, monster of a stock, I think it just, it's been real parabolic. Like when you're at $90, back here in January 1st, you know, even less than that, and now you're at 150. Like, you've just put on right here about 100, almost 100% gain in 2 weeks. So this is a frothy stock. You may like it, but I think it's time to take a little bit off if you're in blue.
Like, if you haven't rang the register on stocks,
just a little bit. Play with house money if you can.
Exactly. Like, I'm very okay with being that dude that sells, that trims when it gets to those crazy highs.
Yep.
You got to make money at some point, right? Like, you've got to sell to make some kind of money. Brian Shannon was a great example of that point. It's like, you take some off, not only does it give the option to buy back on a dip if you still like it, but it also makes you feel way more comfortable holding for the longer run when you bank some profit. So I'm into my second position.
Ooh.
And it should have been Intel. Oh, man. Yeah, Intel just double top. Anyways, it's going to be Bitcoin. So topping tail, a couple of topping tails off the 51 level. So I'm in here at the 3/4 mark. It hasn't broken trend, so I don't think this is necessarily an ad. But if it puts in a third top at 51, then I think it's worth an ad.
That's IBIT, not Intel.
No, IBIT. No, I said I should be short.
So I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, okay, our position.
No, I got into it. But Intel, look at the double tap at 52. Like, you short this double top back through 52, assuming that you could have gotten like 90s or something, and it instantly dropped into 51.40. So it goes 1% almost right away. The other name that we're in, Kraft Heinz, that one, bouncing off 22 even. So low of the day is like 21.90, but it looks like the even dollar is catching a bit of a bid here on Kraft. Might be worth just taking the even dollar and start working off of VWAP. If it holds VWAP, I'm shorting VWAP all day. Until then, going to go back to shorting in the 20s, 30s, and 40s on KHC. Intel right back to the highs on Intel.
Yeah.
Like, I was just saying how good it was looking, and it's already catching a bit of a bid here. So for now, Kraft Heinz working, IBIT not really doing a heck of a lot. The market's still trying to figure its way. Silver and gold, nothing on those two either. They're really not moving at all, the metals.
We almost got our price, man. We went up to 51.20, and it was bouncing around, and I was like, that was a pretty smart move upside. We did not get our full position up there. So we got a little bit, so we'll cover it as it falls back in again, shorting the market, the only trade that I have on right now, looking to see if we can get, there it goes. So okay, finally, I was gonna say, wait till we see if we can get another one move down, and here it is. So there it goes right now, nice move lower. Right now, Trump talking about Switzerland now. So I don't know, CRML. I mean, this is going to be a big trade, man. Honestly, let's see if we can get into the dollar area here, and it doesn't need to do anything. What might need to do something is CRML. That's up 5% right now. That's a nice move, and this could be the Greenland play again that we had sort of talked about. The other name that was pumping on Donald Trump today was SMR. That's come all the way back in. That's almost back to sort of pre-pump levels. Pump is the wrong word, but it pumped. The stock pumped
breakout
on
levels.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was a breakout level, but $20 should be. Well, actually, you know what? Here, let's zoom out. What is this? Yeah, so it basically, it didn't get to 23, but that's kind of the level that you're looking at right there. We've sort of wicked through that, or didn't wick through it, but right into there, 23.50 or so, maybe the top. So that's kind of where you're looking for right now. Okay, boy, oh boy, man, we're doing pretty good on this short. We just got 70s there. Let's see if it continues to come in here. We try to be patient with our Nasdaq trade, because if I think this is going to be down another 1% or so today, then we have more room to go on this trade. That is for sure. Yeah, Tesla, look how choppy this is. Up to 423, back down to 420, up to 423, back down. We've now done this 3 times on Tesla here today. 1, 2, 3. Right back in. So, by the way, Intel right back up to 52 again. So there we go. Intel at highs. What are we going to do with this one? As Intel looking like it wants to continue.
I'm just waiting it out at this point because I'm not chasing this move.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think we go long. I mean, if you go long, you got to get VWAP, which you've already given it to you a bunch of times there. Looks like it does want to continue to rip higher. Silver's not doing a whole bunch, but it's back over to Adara with some news.
I'm just going to let you guys know Trump is still speaking. A lot of these are talking points that he usually brings up, but he's talking a lot about the stock market, at least as of right now. He said in the past and again today that he doesn't like when there's good news and the market reacts negatively because they're worried about inflation. He's saying that now he will make the stock market rally on good economic news. So not that it will, but that he will make it rally on good economic news. He mentioned earlier he thinks the stock market can double and that our recent moves are quote unquote peanuts. So again, just positive news, or I guess positive spin here for Trump on the market. He expects that to continue. Back to you. I do want to mention as well, no economic data at 9:45. We do have some numbers, specifically construction spending, I believe, at 10. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, the action today is brought to you by the President of the United States, not economic data. And, well, something that he did successfully pump in this, not today, but Intel, it's breaking 52 again. 7%, oh my goodness, we actually have to pull out a weekly chart for you guys on Intel to even see where we're headed, because we're at 52-week highs, I believe. Pretty sure there's a level, oh, it's right here. Yeah, we've already broken out on the weekly. Gonna have to go to the monthly. Like, where is there even a resistance spot on this stock? There's the W pattern, $55, that's it. If we hold 52.5, then $55 looks like the next spot. So it's either here or 55 for any kind of a reversion trade. And this thing is blasting higher. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm waiting this one out. I'm not chasing the move up there at all. I'm into IBIT. We're gonna reload Kraft Heinz when we get a chance. And there's, oh, silver might break down. I just looked up and saw silver potentially breaking lower. It did this yesterday, right off the open. Gave you one bounce early and then gave you a deeper bounce at about 10:30. So those are the two things that I'd be looking for on SLV. But I'm gonna stick with the two we got and then just eyeballing Intel for that trend break. What a rally. For the market to be up 0.25% and Intel to do this, the second that pattern changes, it was a good reversion short, but you did have to wait it out. It made its high at 10:40. It was worth it eventually, but I don't know, I went, like the fourth one worked, but I was 1 for 4 to just make back what I lost in the first 3. At least I've already avoided what would have been 2 losses already short Intel.
Times at 9:45, yeah, so I don't know, man, like all this talk with Trump and everything he's saying, like I'm wondering if we're just the wrong way and the futures just want to bump higher here. Like he's going to make the stock market great again. Like that's, you know, if you followed that rhetoric with him before, you've made a lot of money. So I am, yeah, little nervous about it. I'm going to see if we can get short around 51.30 now, right into there, and then basically use this top so that if we are wrong, we're wrong peanuts and we're not, you know, wrong a bunch. So we'll stop averaging in right now. You know, every time we've gotten out on the downside, so we're up on this right now, but holding this against ourselves 5 pennies, waiting to see if there is a move one way or the other here. I think if the market wants to go, it's going to have to be on the back of strong names. So we got to look at Apple. Obviously, they're like, what the hell is Intel doing at 52.50?
Apple
right
yesterday at the close was worth bearing mention.
Was it? Okay, I didn't look at what it was.
Apologies for not mentioning this. This is something we should have covered.
Yeah, what did it do?
No, Apple absolutely dumped. Come on, Char. Absolutely dumped at the close, and then had just an unbelievable buy when the imbalances came out and went like $4. It didn't move that the whole afternoon. So you got to look at these. Look at the level that it bounced back to, this 247, and that's going to be a good litmus. If it can get back above the price where it really dumped at the end and where we bounced to, that's going to be a big one. If we hold above there, I think the market's going to have a better chance to go. But with Apple underneath VWAP, underneath that 247, in my opinion, that's not going to be nothing. Bitcoin, I'm going to start to trim some at VWAP here in front of yesterday's low, but it seems like it's breaking the trend a little bit. I was able to get a reload in Kraft Heinz. And Intel, my goodness, Intel. All right, give me the bid, give me the bid. Intel, topping tail at 52.5 just now. So I said 52.5. This could be the first shot if we get this topping tail confirmed. I mean, the way Intel's been going on a 3-minute, like you could look really good now, and then 30 seconds later, we're breaking out the high. So I want confirmation on the close of this candle. Strongest name in the market that I've seen. I mean, this and ARM. I don't know what else is going this big.
Derek, can I get your opinion or what you're thinking about Intel here? Because like this is an absolute monster of a stock here, and I'm not seeing anything.
Nothing.
Intel, like I'm not seeing anything. Okay, so Derek just saying not really seeing anything.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, once again, there is nothing here in INTC. And I spent some time looking this morning, too, because they were up pre-market. But yesterday we had that upgrade, a couple positive analyst notes. It looks like later in the day as well. But when I say later in the day, latest I'm seeing is like 12 yesterday, 12 p.m., not 12 midnight.
So the thing is like they report tomorrow. So they report tomorrow after close. You can see Intel right here. So like what kind of a report is planned for these guys? Like, are they just going to blow it out of the water? Like 2.4% short float rate there. And just wondering, is this sort of a look? I mean, if you guys are playing options or anything like that, is this the time right now on any kind of dips where you get involved? Because someone's either front running this earnings report. That just seems crazy to make these kind of moves 1 day, 2 days, I guess, ahead of earnings when the market was down 2% yesterday and is questionable what's going on today. So yeah, all right, that's Intel, and it is pulling back right now. Our position board, we got to get that all fixed up. I'm going to throw it back over to Neil.
We are, and if you're a savvy Canadian trader, you want to boost that exposure, well, GlobeX is bringing you Beta Pro, and that's your chance to tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500. You've got those leverage ETFs, and more importantly, they've got built-in FX hedging. Amplify those short-term moves and minimize the impact of currency swings. You can be bullish, you can be bearish. They're built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Make sure you read the risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing or trading, and check out and scan that QR code you see out in front of you on the screen right now. I want to shout out to them. I have Trump in my ear.
Oh, do you?
He said the word shooting, and it sounded like, defecating.
Oh.
So I was like, what did the president just say?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to listen in while also speaking, which sometimes can be a bit of a,
Good
bit of a challenge.
Good talent.
Oh, no. What? Oh, wrong stock. I suck. No, I just went to, I was bidding out on KHC, Kraft Heinz, going to put a bid, and I just punched out everything of Intel. So wrong stock, so I just took 10 cents on Intel when I meant to take a piece out. I took the whole thing, so I'm going to try to get back in. That 52.50 looks like it is going to be a topping tail candle, at least for now. That's not where I want. Let's go to 20s. Go back into the 20s. Might have just had the top there. All right, that's kind of annoying, but I'm going to wait. If we get a topping tail candle, there's always a chance we could come back in, put a head and shoulders in. That 52.5 looks like the place to be on Intel. Bitcoin, still holding VWAP. Still holding the volume-weighted average price. The president's talking about Somalia now. If we bounce off VWAP, I'll look for a lower high, somewhere around the 50.85 zone. I'm short at 77, which is not ideal. I think a price in the 80s would be a heck of a lot better there. But getting back in Intel is going to make a little bit more sense as a priority.
I like that. Trump is spitting bars. Yeah, look, yeah, you might have had the top there for Intel for sure. This has really gotten my attention here. We are just basically waiting to get stopped out of this. Like, I thought the short, go ahead, Adara.
Trump just finished here. He said, I'll see you around. Thank you very much. He is supposed to be meeting with foreign leaders. That's supposed to be off camera at 9:45, so that's already late. But then he's also supposed to be meeting with business leaders, apparently at some kind of lunch at 11:25 a.m. Eastern. So that might be on camera. I'll certainly keep you all posted. Just get an update there.
So I really want to flip over to the long, now that we've sort of broken higher. It's our confidence, as we had mentioned this confidence as we were getting into this trade, making the stock market great again. These are the small little dips. The market's going to double from here. Like these are the kind of things that hedge funds and some of these quants really get behind, because now they have like a reason to try to run this market a little bit, because they feel like potentially the president has their back. So I am a little nervous here after a 2% down day yesterday that there's a lot of room to get back to the upside. And if Davos was not as, doom and gloom, which it doesn't look like it. I mean, the market, President Trump has done his, his predetermined speech there. He's going to take Q&A now. But at the end of the day, the market is not negative here. It's liking this talk. So we're going to stop. There it is. We're going to stop out of this right now. We'll fail. I mean, we're wrong on that, but we should have switched over our mentality a little bit there into that, as the whole market right now is taking out some of these highs. Great trade by you, Donald. I mean, you really created this market bounce, and that's exactly what he wanted to do, I feel like. So there it is, man. Nice move higher in the Nasdaq. I don't think we got taken out at the top. I still think there's a lot of room to run right here. So actually, not a great trade, but not overly upset with how we traded it. So, but yeah, there goes the TQs, man. Higher from here. I think it's probably time to flip long. We'd just rather wait for a little bit of a better price, but there it goes. Upside on the Nasdaq now.
Yeah, the market's still going, and remember, he's taking some questions. So we still have to listen out for the president, even if the prepared remarks are done. It's not over yet. Let's go to Adara. We have another update.
So it sounds like apparently this moment with Trump was actually supposed to be a Q&A or like I guess a moderated talk instead of a speech. It ended up being a speech, I guess, because Trump gave a speech. And so now they're trying to ask him some questions to kind of go back to the moderated fireside chat that this was intended to be. So just an update. Trump is still speaking right now. They indicated they're going to ask him about Greenland, but they didn't want to open with Greenland. So keep an eye here on CRML and some of these metals plays. Those could move because, again, it is almost 100% likely based on these comments that we're going to get a Greenland-related question, at least one. Back to you.
Can't tell him what he's supposed to do.
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, but he is going to get asked about Greenland, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that, like, certainly, and again, he said buy, so it is what it is. I mean, apparently that also means buy Kraft Heinz. Like, Bitcoin's holding, which is weird, but Kraft Heinz is trying to break. So initial move is good, but I'm jumping out. We just broke what was VWAP at the open, which is the 22.5 zone. So going to walk away from that one. We'll see if we get back in Intel, but I'm not completely convinced about this. I feel like the move already happened twice on INTC. Like, there was the 52 double top. There was a topping tail candle. There was no chance to get back in at that price, and I'm not chasing the move on what was the strongest stock. It's going to have to show me a different setup, like something new. It could be a head and shoulders, like holding this side at 52 and then short the lower highs, something along those lines. But yeah, not going to chase the move. We kind of had that one and keystroked it. IBIT still holding out. Well, let's get to the super chat in a quick little segment, but there's a lot of names that we haven't covered that I see you guys putting in the chat as we speak. Dylan, thank you for all your insights, and same to all at Trader TV. Also, thanks to whoever was mentioning RCAT in the chat yesterday. You're up 900 so far.
Yeah,
that's what the community is all about. So remember, whether we're trading or not or looking at it or not, I guarantee you our community is all over it. And if you type in the $, then we know it's going to be of interest. What's going to be there? I haven't looked at this yet today. Intel, PAVM, that wasn't. PAVM was the one that we brought earlier this morning. I think it was the first small capper to go. AMD, Netflix on earnings, Palantir we haven't discussed, CRVS from yesterday, Tesla, Serve Robotics, and Oklo. We haven't even talked about the nuclear names, which the president did tout heavily. They came back in as well. I think they could be worth a second salvo, actually.
We finally got a little smart, finally, which is not normal. We went long. So there's the long. There's a quick out, man. We actually made back 30% so far. We got some out there at 65s right there. So we just kind of put on the exact same amount of shares. So our average price, we were short at 51. I think it was 21s or something like that. We stopped out there at 50. So we do wind up losing 30 cents. So we will take 15 cents or so there. And I guess it wasn't 15 cents, about 12 cents. And then we'll see where we can go, hopefully a little bit higher. Okay, go. I'm at 75s just to see if we can get something out. And if we're going to look at this trade now, I mean, I've completely flipped the switch here on this to go into the long now. You know, lots of room to the upside. Yesterday, we obviously had a monster move down. We opened up low, we got going, and then we tanked. So this would be the area for concern here, 52.20, 52.40s, somewhere around there. If we get that high, I mean, if we get that high, then we'll be high. So that would be good. Yeah, PLTR got hit off the open. You know, this happens all the time when the market gets hit a little bit. And then there's the rebound for Palantir. So nicely traded there, PLTR, if you guys are on that. And just to go back, like, I wanted to short silver. It was the #1 trade idea. Oh, no, sorry. So Alibaba was, you have to go over to Alibaba, was to go short silver. That just didn't hit our 86 target, but there it goes. Silver nicely cooking there. We're waiting for 51.80 as there goes, man. Fire the hot dog cannon off on the TQs as we are long on the market. I wanted to bring this down here just to give you guys a little bit of a look at what the market's been doing today. Yesterday we showed you this board and it was hella red. You know, today, not so much. You're pretty green overall. I mean, shout out to Adara, man. I keep saying the smartest one in the room. Oracle down another, in this, yeah, congrats, Adara, for that one. And thank you for saving me a shit ton of money too. But Oracle, the only name that's down of any real concern. Obviously, there's another one, Adara, Boeing down as well. But we love the way Boeing looks. Boeing's been a great stock. Microsoft down on that side. And then here's the consumer non-durables, the names that, are that chase for value, as we look at trying to get some dividends and trying to look at, maybe big names in Europe as well. And with the recent sale, yes, we just got that TQQ fill, by the way, putting us flat. The Coke, P&G, Philip Morris, Pepsi, all these names with that Kraft Heinz sale today.
Well, they haven't technically sold yet.
No, but filing to do
Yeah,
so.
filing.
I mean, yeah, so that's not a good story. But there goes KHC. So hitting some of these consumer non-durable names to the downside, and always nice, thankfully, because I know it's yes, let's go, man. What a good flip up on the TQs. Incredible here on the financials today. It's not that the moves are huge, but this is a nice looking board. JP Morgan, let's go, man. This is going to be a good trade, hopefully, right there, as this is what the TQs are doing, baby. Nice move higher there. We're waiting for 99s as, yeah, my president there, Donald Trump, continuously creating some nice action in this market. Yeah, it's funny how I go from short to long and, how quickly the tune flips over on this side, as that's what the markets are all about, right? You gotta be like water there and be able to adapt to what you're doing there. But there it goes, man. Nice move higher in this market for now.
Yeah, certainly for now. And until, look, yesterday, IBIT will short this pretty much the entirety of the day. There was literally until the end of the day before we got out of it. We haven't broken 51 yet, which is, we're basically at 90,000, 89.8 or so. So it's going to be that 90,000 level that if it breaches, then I can look at the other direction. But until that happens, this one was one of the things, even when the market was bouncing in the morning, it was unable to take out that initial high. So far, exactly the same thing. Intel is still looking strong. By the way, Intel almost back toward the highs, 7%. AMD did get there. And AMD is now taking the baton and said, hold my beer, Intel. It's at 245. I did hear the president, there was some questions certainly about tech and AI. So he was briefly addressing a question about AI, whether or not that has anything to do with this move. We're going to go to Adara. It's already 10 o'clock, time for Happening Now.
Seconds away here from pending home sales and construction spending month for month here. Pending home sales coming in at negative 9.3%, it looks like, for the month of December. That's month over month. Construction spending month over month, positive 0.5%, above estimates of 0.1%. So again, we got a negative print here, larger than expected for pending home sales change month over month, negative 9.3%. We were expecting roughly flat. Previous print, positive 3.3%. Construction spending month over month, again, positive 0.5%. Market just keeps pushing higher, maybe aided by comments from U.S. President Donald Trump, who is still speaking at Davos, though now is actually a Q&A portion of this fireside chat. Basically, he did talk quite a lot about the market, saying that he will make the market react positively once again to good news. He said this used to be the case, it stopped happening, and he wants that to happen yet again. He did mention Greenland quite a lot, which led to some moves in the likes of CRML and other rare earths and metals plays like MP Materials. MP is the ticker for that one, and the metals company TMC. So certainly keep an eye on this space. We also had the moderator indicate he's going to be asking questions about Greenland, though not yet. Currently, Trump's talking about the relationship with China, saying that he has a good relationship with President Xi. We have to talk about earnings because we actually did have a pretty major one last night. Netflix, NFLX. Hopefully you caught that with us right here on the earnings recap show at Trader TV Live. But NFLX did post EPS and sales beats, though their guidance for Q1 2026 not so rosy. Their operating margin guidance and their operating margin for this most recent quarter also a bit disappointing. But in terms of earnings, we have another big one tomorrow after the bell. That's going to be Intel, INTC, massive gap up and push higher for this one once again. No news though. They did have a handful of upgrades and positive analyst notes yesterday ahead of this report. So INTC continues to be on watch. I'll keep you guys posted with all the Davos news. We are also potentially going to be getting oral arguments in Lisa Cook's, that's Fed's Lisa Cook's Supreme Court case related to Trump's attempt to dismiss her back on August 20th of 2025. So that could apparently be happening today. I'll be listening to those oral arguments if they do come to pass, and I'll keep you posted. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and head back over here to Sean and Neil.
Yeah, thank you, Adara, for all of that.
All right, the Nasdaq now huge, man, almost up 1% as we continue to climb up there. I like that. He will single-handedly make the market go up. So that's exciting. On good news, of course. So I guess that's just by turning on the plunge protection team at all points, right? I mean, the minute there's good news out, just get all your boys in there to buy. I don't know how else to make the market go up. But okay, so Amazon, 232. Amazon's been in a little bit of a drawdown. We talked about many of these names into the 50-period moving average. Amazon just looking to break out. I like this long. We've had some good developments down here, trying to bid off of that 231. Let's see if that continues to go a little bit higher. But maybe the market is slowing down just a little bit. I did want to go over to Netflix because that's on a nice run, man.
It just pulled back.
Yeah, to $85 there. So yeah, a little washout. We did like the long down there at 80. I'm sitting at 80, but we never got that, and and then it just pops upside. So a nice little trade there for anybody that was able to get long. I'll take another piece out here at 82. Well, I just offered 80. There it is. We got it. So yeah, on this, I mean, we just bounced off $52 there on the Nasdaq, and like I said, I still think we can get going. But there's the 200 period moving average. So that's kind of where I think we can max out at, like around here, 52.20. That's where we want to make sure that we have about half left. Well, actually, right now we have half left, so we've actually got out of maybe too much here. So let's wait to see 52.20 with the high break of 52.50 here for the TQ. So I'm just going to I'm still waiting at 51.99. I don't know why, but we'll sit there. We'll see if we get a fill on that. The high is 96, and then we get higher. Trump saying we'll see what happens on Greenland, and then I just go ahead, Neil, because I want to. There's a news piece here that I want to put up if I can find it.
Yeah, actually right now, it looks like silver's trying to break this downtrend. It did not get all the way to the 84 quarter level that I was looking for, but it's going to do this. I tried getting rid of this wick. It just keeps on coming back, that dark pool wick, which is messing up the scaling. But if we can hold VWAP here, this is an all morning long trend break, which it did off the open twice for a couple of good bounces. So I'm going to slip in. Once we close confirming above the trend line, we got 3 points on it. Take the first long in SLV. The other thing is, yeah, I still feel like that was the opportunity to short an Intel is gone at that 50, off of that 52.5. That was it, and we're right back up at the top. No head and shoulders forming yet. So I'm going to stay away from Intel. Bitcoin's still holding underneath the 51 level, but it's silver that is now on my mind. Gold's already bouncing. The question is, can silver go with it? Adara?
Trump's still speaking here. He's echoing mostly his previous comments on Greenland, though he was asked about Greenland. But we also have live oral arguments here. It is, in fact, the Trump and Lisa Cook case happening here at the Supreme Court. So we'll be listening to those too, just kind of for a broader perspective on what's happening in this case. I will also very likely cover it on X at TTV Research in more detail if you are curious about the Supreme Court case, because it is being viewed by a lot of thinkers here as potentially massive for views on the Fed in terms of its independence. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Still listening to Trump as well. Lots happening this morning on Trader TV Live and in this market. Back to you.
Metals is getting destroyed.
Like, is it down 4%?
Again, well, it's not that it's down 4%. It really just dropped 10% from the highs. So I know it's down 4% from the close, but it just dropped 10% clean. SMR can't even get going. This is the first thing that the president bumped during his talk was actually the nuclear names. So it's trying to get back above the prior high. This is what I wanted to see, like hold the prior day high, which is finally happening here, and then maybe a join over the volume weighted average price. I mean, if we're going to go rallying, there's still room. Even just closing above the 20 level here, there's room to the 2050, and then 21 is the wick high as well. So silver is still resisting a little bit that trend break, but SMR is now starting to go. This was the one that went the most, and then I mean, look, all three. Oklo had a small move. They got an upgrade.
Jesus.
NEE also made a move. But just the SMR, the most volatile and certainly the strongest. So now you're breaking out above the volume weighted average price. So I'm going to jump in. Just give it to the 20. Just give it to the 20 level to be a bit of a joiner. And as I said, silver, now it's breaking the trend line.
Dude, Intel Micro SSR upside. I know that doesn't
count, but Intel's up 10% right now. It just hit $53. I shouldn't say 10%. It's up 9.25.
What is the all-time high?
All-time highs? No. We're way higher than that. Isn't it all-time highs like in the 80s? Hold on a second. Let me just pull up a chart here on eSignal because it'll just be quicker. If we're anywhere near all-time highs,
no, we're not.
It's
this definitely over.
Yeah. Let's go to the monthly chart on Intel.
For sure, it's at least.
Yeah, I said 80 something, but it looks like 76.
Oh, because that's the level I'm thinking.
Yeah. So right into here, if we can catch into the 60, you're still a ways away.
You're still a ways away.
Look, man, no problem with Intel here, and I don't want to, scare anybody or anything like that. But this is like Intel 6 months ago was $19. It's now $54, and you're coming into earnings again. So this is what it looks like on the monthly chart. I mean, if we scroll down into a weekly or something like that, you could just see this is not like. I mean, sure, it's like Intel, but we've seen these moves happen. I just fear I'm taking some out. All right, more out here. I might get it all out. Well, you like to hold a little bit for earnings just in case someone actually does know. Well, this is already a dream, man. But yeah, Intel, like just an absolute monster there, and might just take that money and go on vacation.
It's going to be a triple for the U.S. government.
Yeah.
At $57, it's a triple.
They've never said that they had any plans of getting out of that.
I don't know how. Yeah, see, I don't know how that works. Like. They've never said they have an intention of getting out, but at the same time, like, what do they have to? I don't know what disclosure rules are when the U.S. government takes a stake.
Well, they lost money on most. They didn't make money on GM or anything. There's a whole bunch of different things.
They don't have to telegraph. They don't have to file to sell. Like all that kind of stuff.
What does
the same? By the way, IBIT finally broke. So one time it goes to VWAP. It just broke the high. So yesterday, which was the cleanest and overall just short. Once it takes out the high, that's definitely a different trend that we're putting in there on Bitcoin, which is now above 90,000, by the way. So you probably arrows up, at least temporarily, although remember what Brian Shannon said the other day, which is that he has an anchored VWAP that it's been running into from the highs, which it can't seem to break, but there's also the prior trend line on the daily, which you got to watch out for. On INTC. So SMR finally breaks away from the volume-weighted average price.
Oh, it's
going to long this one off VWAP here. And again, I'm only picking them because they moved the most. So they had the best reaction to the president this morning saying we need nuclear energy. And it wasn't just that. He was also crapping all over solar and a few other decisions made in Europe. Let's put it that way.
All right. Intel's the one that's got me shook here, but like this is a good Netflix. I'm just trying to figure out what the levels are because we've zoomed out to Netflix before and have seen this level. And you did get the dip buy opportunities into 81 yesterday, but this is right at a level where we've seen support before. I generally think it's a day 3 play here on Netflix. You could spike up again, like. How official is that deal now with Warner Brothers? Like, I know that they're talking $27.75. I know the Warner Brothers board has suggested in favor of it, so I guess they're out for vote. So, do we know anything more about that, Adara, with where that stands with Warner Brothers and Netflix? Because
technically, the original. What's so crazy today
WBD's $28.50.
The original Skydance tender
is expired.
Expired today.
Okay.
So I mean, I would be proceeding under the understanding that you got $27.75 cash at this point, unless Skydance makes some kind of a change, but it's still trading above that price.
Right.
That's the issue. It's trading in the 28s.
Okay, Dara?
It looks like Trump's done now. I was just going to say, it looks like that the Q&A is done, speech done. Right now, it seems like he is complete at this point. If there's anything that changes, I'll let you know.
All right, I'm going to go. I am short Intel now.
Someone's still yelling.
I've had enough of this. Let's just see if it pulls back. Like, honestly, take a couple hundred shares and let's just see what winds up happening here. Like, if we do get a pullback, that high is 53.20. Let's look for this area here, 52.50. So we'll put a bid down into there. We have been getting out of some of our TQs. I mean, it's not necessarily looking super attractive at these levels. We'll take some more 73s out now. If Trump is done, he was really pumping the tires of make America great and make the market great. And, the market will go up on good news now. So, yeah, if he's done talking, I am a little skeptical of me getting my 52 fill. So we'll take a little bit out right now. We're going to watch out for this stock right here. We are now in new position alert. We are now in Intel as that's trying to make a move lower. So let's see if we have some kind of a pullback option here for us on Intel. We just said that we are looking, let's go 52, what is that high? Let's just put a bid here and see if we get it. 52.70, okay? So we'll put a bid down here at 52.70 and we'll see if we can grab that. We'll get out a 10% down there. And then the next area will be 52.50 or so, this breakout right here. And then we'll move off of that because if we're gonna give ourselves 30 cents worth of room, we should, you know, take 30 cents if it's available to us. But yeah, that's my little talk there on Intel. Let's see if it can create a profitable experience for us here on the short of Intel.
And let's ask you this, everybody. If someone handed you $1.25 million to trade, would your process change? Or just the upside? That's the opportunity Funded Futures Network provides. They're a futures prop firm that gives traders access to large sim and live funded accounts every single day. And they've already paid millions to traders around the world with fast, same-day, and daily payouts. Right now, evaluation accounts are 50% off, so buy one, get one free, and no activation fees. You can find the link below or scan the QR code in front of you on screen to check them out. Want to shout them out for sure. All right, we might be making a bit of a curl. I don't want to see a head and shoulders pattern set up here on SMR on that VWAP bounce. I'll still reload it on what would be a trend if it tags it a third time. It's not really yet for me on that little break away from the volume weighted average price, but you are still, I mean, the market's kind of stalling out a little bit. So I have to have at least some concern about the pullback. I'm waiting patiently. IBIT's still at that 90,000 level. It broke out the high, but I'm, like, again, just going to wait patiently for it to test yesterday's top. That's ways away. Like, we're a full percentage point away from getting into that high, but we are starting to form like a trend that could break out for me as well. So I've got to watch out for that one pretty closely. And then Netflix, man, like this one is not stopping. I thought there'd be more of a trend play where you could play off the volume weighted average price if it held 82. Like this was key support on the daily chart. There just hasn't even been a dip on Netflix at all. Like, there's just nothing to sink your teeth into anywhere close to the volume weighted average price. So very strong day for them. Tesla we haven't discussed, but it's starting to have weakness at the 425 level. This is exactly where you thought there might be some trouble yesterday's lows, and we have been unable to break away. So this is not going to be the one, Tesla either. So yeah, just going to be looking at this SMR for the potential dip back in to the volume weighted average price, and then look for the next opportunity in there. I mean, the president's now sort of done the remarks and the Q&A and all that, and the question becomes, okay, well, we've had our jockeying, and we've had outsized moves off the open on a lot of things. You just look at SMR as an example. You look at AMD as an example. Now where are they going to settle back in? AMD looks like a trend break as we speak, though. All right. It's hard to ignore this one. This looks like an obvious trend break. So it's going to confirm that there's almost no chance it's not going to confirm this trend break here, because there we go. It's confirmed the trend break on the 3-minute. That gives me the prior bar at like 247.5 or so. I'm going to stick in front of 247 and see if I can get picked up on this one. Whoa, it's already slapping back up. Fails, fail 47, fail 47, fail 47. Even get it? No mas. No mas, did not get it. So 247, there's your trend break. It then immediately pops back up. I did not want to chase it. Try to smack it on the way back in, and we did not grab that fill. So it looks like you could be getting a bit of a top. The other thing I'm watching, I have not taken my eyes off Intel. It's also got a pretty distinct trend. Just go from the open and connect it with this little bounce. It's getting very close to breaking trend itself. I'm going to zoom in the black chart for you. So if we break down underneath this trend line, I also like Intel for a quick little salvo. Just looking at yesterday when we trended up and then eventually broke, like to me, the path, for myself at least, the path to green yesterday was waiting for the spots. It's like, okay, so your original open plans, like that level doesn't hold, that level doesn't hold, then just wait for your setups. And I'm gonna, like I said, giving this one to the prior bar, which is about that 47.5. If we break it, I'm out. If we get back down into that 46 area, takes them out. VWAP seems a ways away at this particular point. And also no reload on SMR. SMR did not dip. This Randy's not in here today, is he?
No, you mentioned yesterday that you
thanks.
you wanted some espresso. So
I'm gonna
here
do
we
this.
go.
I'm gonna do that from now on. I'd like the look from Randy of the espresso.
Yeah, same. That's a good one right there.
Easier.
Okay. Yes. All right. Oh, my net went down. Oh, okay. As the market continues to rip up. Geez, what the? My whole thing about Trump being gone, therefore market go down. No. Nice.
I thought I liked him like the Fed.
Market extension.
That if
right
he
there.
bounced us, then he would reverse us. Like what
yeah.
Powell usually does.
If he yes, yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. So, but yeah, no, not at all. Thinking incorrect. We'll be flat on the TQs, obviously, after all this. We did go short initially, then we go long and making it back, so we'll be up. But down on the day here because
Holy crap! What the?
this just happened. So we just took a hit on Intel. Like I came back and was like, oh my God, the market's going. I actually forgot that we put this short on, but we were getting out at the high of the day. So when that hits, we're out breaking through 30. There goes Intel, man. I mean, I wish we would have bought the dip instead of sold the dip, but I thought that there was a back end trade there. Obviously, incorrect amount right there as Netflix. Is it doing the same kind of a play? Yes, it is, man. It's tried to. I was thinking Netflix was a pullback right here as well. Sorry. So I don't know. I think ever since we're now connected to those screens behind us, it is a little bit shady here to get over to the screen a bunch of times. But, maybe Netflix is now finally thinking about turning itself around. We have bounced off of the 21 period moving average rate into there quite nicely. We haven't gotten as low as the 50 period. Maybe that's a break lower right there through $84. But watch out for 84.50, 84.60 right there coming through. Nice take on the TQs. We really like that one. And, for everybody that sold yesterday near some of the lows, I don't think you need to feel so bad about it, but the market obviously is ticking a little bit higher right now, so just be careful trying to have too much FOMO. This is a long game, and if you are swing trading, then you've had a couple good days where yesterday you might have been able to put on some shorts early, and then today maybe the long, as we had sort of talked about what that meant, bouncing off VWAP
As long as it
early.
wasn't critical metals.
And, well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say specifically all longs, but critical, SMR is up huge, lots of good names flying around here. We're just long the Nasdaq and waiting to see if we do get an extension over here as well. And I actually am trying to be stubborn with Intel, and I do actually want to go short. This name is now up 10.5%. Just doesn't make much sense to me. And we could have done the easy thing today, which would have been short Kraft Heinz. Let's see what that's done, and that's gone the other way.
It bounced too.
So there you go. So that's what I mean. Like you get all this sort of idea, and then all of a sudden things start going oppo a little bit. Do I short Intel now?
Oh, I just got.
When do we short Intel?
I got wicked out. You know where I put my stop? It's going to be the prior bar.
You're on AMD.
But that was AMD wicking out. I have the trend line drawn for Intel. I'm going to, either breaks the trend line or gets to 55. So that's kind of my thought there to try to play that one. And then,
55.
okay, now SMR goes, really? SMR got right to the lower high, let's just say there was a seller at 80. It's visually obvious here there was a seller at 80 because it immediately dropped like 20 pennies. And now it's ramping even higher. So there's nothing stopping this. It was a good break off VWAP, but when it made that top at 80s, there wasn't even a pullback to get you to the volume weighted average price. So I'm out of both. Now I'm going to just have to wait for Intel to give me the reversion, or we'll get to the super chat in here, or wait for something else new to set up. One of those things we were watching earlier, like a Netflix. But GITS for Tech Lion, Global Interactive Technologies, Inc.
Look at SLV. Okay, thoughts on JITS? Go ahead.
JITS, GITS,
I don't
GITS, 220%. That's
GIF,
insane.
GIF.
Remember, this was a penny stock, and unlike, forget the name of the one we brought you yesterday with the gorgeous-looking daily chart, this is more of a habitual line stepper daily chart. Parabolic move up and back to the lows. Reverse split and back to the lows. So watch out. Like the $3 level is obvious resistance, and then the 380 as well. But this has more the feel of, yeah, you're going to want to make sure you bank some profits on this. This has the profile of a
SLV just
more of a
puked,
company.
by the way. Yeah,
The market going higher.
Good call there on JITS. But look at silver. Huge move down, man. Right now on the 5-minute, just brought it into the 200 period into $84. We like the short. We're not in it. There goes silver downside. What's up, Adara?
Time to start here with CRVS for this small cap recap. We have quite a few interesting ones here today. Corvus Pharmaceuticals, they had a pretty big move yesterday. Then after the bell yesterday around 4:40 p.m., suspending a $100 million at-the-money stock offering that was filed way back on August 6th of 2024. So suspending a stock offering, CRVS to the upside. It's worth noting market cap on this is quite significant, around $1.6 billion, but so is the short float at just over 20%. BNAI next up here, Brand Engagement Network. They were actually on our watch list this morning, our Trader TV Live watch list, which you could, of course, subscribe for free. They landed a $2 million AI deal, specifically with regards to Africa and expanding, I guess, getting these licenses here to expand into Africa's government and commercial markets. They also made a deal here as part of this overall transaction with Nelson Mandela University. That's a memorandum of understanding there. BNAI has a 45% short float. Last but not least is PAVM, PAVM, 900,000 share float. So pretty small float. Roughly 4% of that is sold short. And a subsidiary of PAVM received a contract from the Department of Veteran Affairs. So nice look here for PAVM. Slight government tie-up there. Lots to keep an eye on today as we send you back over to Sean and Neil. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content.
Yeah, there it is, man. Yeah, thank you, Adara. Yeah, here we go, man. We're going to be positive again on Intel, position pending, as it just makes a move lower right there. We waited to see if there was any sort of a slowdown. We got a bunch of, 3 or 4 red candles in a row on the minute chart. Doesn't mean that this thing's tanking by any stretch of the imagination, but here we go, man. We got a position on. It's Intel. We just covered some there at 20s. I'm still waiting at 10s. I'm actually at 11s. We'll see if we get a pushback right now on Intel. But yeah, man, give me those 11s. Yes, okay. So a huge move right now for Intel. We are now positive right now on Intel, so we'll spend a little bit of money on that one as that is starting to get lower right now into the 21 period. We haven't seen anything. We haven't seen VWAP. We haven't seen the 21. Well, we saw it right there. We haven't seen the 50. So right now, I think it's a good, decent spot anyways to start to cover Intel down here.
Yeah, it just broke. It said I waited for it to break the trend line, so I'm also in. There's the 3-minute from the first initial bounce, and I'm looking for the prior high on that bounce. It's like 52.67 or so as the entry point, or exit point, I should say. IBIT finally broke its trend from VWAP as well, so waiting for the entry. It just got in. We'll give it to the prior bar high as usual, as you're starting to see things slow down a little bit. And then I just heard in my ear GLD, or gold, I should say. So, we look at GLD, but gold falling back in here. Is that closed? No, it hasn't closed the gap. Not even close. Okay, so gold isn't even close to closing that gap. Still have another $4 to go before you close the gap on GLD. But all that strength, let's be real. When the market goes up, some of that safety in gold goes the other way. And that's been a bit of a theme, and you're seeing it play in again here today. So if the market turns around, I think that gives you kind of an idea that maybe it would be the time to maybe look for a bounce play in gold.
All right, I think that was a great cover there for Intel, where we got some out, obviously waiting for lower, but we just covered some there. Our best out is 53.11s, so that was a really good move down, because now it's right back, flat again. So, taking some profits out. And like I said, man, I'm trying to use a little bit more shares, trying to have quicker stops, and also take profit when certain key levels are hit. So let's wait, man. We still could get blown out on the top of this name. That's like 54 bucks, is where we may have to hold this one too. But it could be wrong and break higher and get into this level. And then we got to think about what we're going to do. But there's the nice move down there for Intel. We could stop out up here if we break through 60s and then just worry about that top wick later. That's 81s. Right now, I'm not going to reload this short. Let's see if we can get another bid. I'm actually bidding 20s now. So if that falls back in, we'll look to take some out on Intel. At the TQ, still motoring. And actually, right now, the Nasdaq's at the high of the day, so let's not be foolish. Let's get some more out if we can. We're at 09s right now. There it is. We take that fill out at the high of the day right now, as, we were short once, and now we're long. So let's wait to see if that continues to print out for us. You mentioned Apple was a little nasty yesterday. There's Apple 250 again today. Let's see if we can break through that level. We got as high as 249, as low as 246. So still in the trap zone right here, it seems like, where you don't want to go long or short yet. Waiting to see what Apple wants to do, but it looks like the market is continuously extending its gains right now. But AMD, 7%. Like that's at 250 right now. Man, I remember shorting that yesterday. Mistake. AMD up.
I believe it's all the way back.
I'm wondering what's wrong with Intel here. AMD is up 7% on similar no news. Intel, I can wrap my head because tomorrow's earnings. I just very excited to see this market start to bump higher here. As here's another pullback a little bit for Intel. Go ahead, Adara.
AMD did appoint a director yesterday after the bell. This individual is Casey McClure, previously CFO of Accenture. That's kind of it I'm seeing for AMD, nothing from today.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's that big of a deal, but...
It doesn't seem like a major thing, but
like
I don't know.
Big of a deal. What's worth
Like I
noting,
said,
I just want to quickly show you a name. So you think it's all rosy in Shipland? Whatever is going well is not going well for SMCI, unfortunately. That one, we don't have locates on this. We do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we should.
Okay, so it's lower highs being made. If Intel reversion comes out, then I'm going to be looking at that name. Because there's two ways to look at SMCI. You can say, well, if the market turns, it's already weak. But the other way to play it is if the market continues, that thing could break its trend and join the rest of the party. We cannot seem to break down through the quarter level and the 53 on Intel at all. While IBIT broke trend here and is now starting to make a move. So it's broken the trend, looking for 51, and then the volume weighted average price on this bad boy. Patience is the name of the game, right? Like that's what worked out yesterday. So, if it doesn't work, just wait for your next opportunity in there, and then just try to control your losses when you're wrong, just so that they don't blow you out of the water. But I am interested in SMCI all of a sudden. I don't want to lose sight as well of SMR. SMR all the way back, and we didn't get the top, but it's a heavy reversal back into VWAP. Let's just say it's pulling back in rather heavily. This is not a gentle pullback into the volume weighted average price. It just dropped 3% in like 5 minutes or so. So if there's a good bounce here, I don't mind jumping in, but I'm not just standing in front of VWAP on SMR.
Yeah, Tesla's going right now. I definitely see that one. I'm going to stop out at 53.60 if Intel goes, man. I just don't want to sit in here anymore with Intel as it's going higher, man, and it's not stopping anytime soon. So we'll get on the bid in the 30s and see if we're able to cover something. What in Tesla right now? That continues to go higher as well. So there we go. Nice move there for Tesla as it's continuously going there. Hold on a second. I got to get something ready to go here very soon. But there goes Tesla, 428. Nice little high made right there, up 2% and going. We looked at Rivian before, RIVN. We're out of Intel. That short did not work. It just got blown out higher right there. Rivian, oh, by the way, there goes the mark. I mean, it's too bad. Like, we should have just stuck in this futures trade because we did give some back there on Intel. But Rivian back down into 1620 and change, going a little bit there for Rivian. But there it is. The TQ's higher, and there goes Intel. Don't tell me it blasted. Yeah, okay. So it took out that 60 area and then goes higher. It looks like the one that we should have sort of reverted or looked for the reversion on was Netflix. I mean, this was the other name that I was really thinking about up here at 85. I mean, we had sort of just hadn't been able to break it for the last 40 minutes. Basically, I didn't realize it was 10:30 already. Through the last 40 minutes, so that's going to be a good short. It looks like. I still want to catch Intel.
We just opened.
I know, on the way back, and then silver as well. Wow, man, we missed that opportunity, down to $84. We said not the crash, we said a sort of a move down was coming there on SLV, which was up about 1% earlier, now down 1%, so a little tipsy-turvy there for that. Netflix trying to hold out, and then I'm just waiting. Like, how wrong have I been there on Intel? I mean, this just keeps on going back.
It did this yesterday. The only difference between today and yesterday is today's move is bigger, realistically, but it's almost the same stair step to the upside. It was at 10. It was really at this time that it made the high. So I felt like I waited it out right. But first one kind of worked. But that I keystroked the bejesus out of that one, getting it all out. But it's still holding on and breaking higher. If we don't, I'm going to just get rid of this because I want to look at a 15-minute for a trend line. If we get to 55, that's a big level on the daily. IBIT, I'm waiting at VWAP. If we get to VWAP, I'm going to jump out of that trade as before. So just before we go back up, I mentioned SMR. It's now trying to bounce, but it broke right through the volume weighted average price, but it's still holding on to prior highs. So I might take a second shot at this. Don't like the fact that it's double topped this 21, but the president seems like he can only move these nuclear names so far. Let's go back to Adara.
No, we're going to go over here quickly. Yeah, we're going to talk about OGen because millions of concussions with 0 approved therapies. Oragenics, which is symbol over there on the NYSE, symbol OGEN, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain-first approach to concussion treatment. With the market expected to be $8.9 billion, Oragenics is positioned to drive what comes next. See what's ahead. Book a meeting today by making sure you do check them out. Oragenics, scan the QR code, give them some love over there, especially if you or a loved one or anybody you know is suffering from concussions. Thank you to Oragenics for that one. Okay, look, at the end of the day here, decisions need to be made. The market right now is ripping, so up 1%. I mean, I'll call this a rip. I mean, it really hasn't stopped. We had one little pullback, could have got long, I guess, and then there's the move higher. We did start the day thinking short. We did have Donald Trump on the mic, right, which is always a worry, but he was talking positively about the stock market, which should surprise nobody. I mean, we've sat here and called him a market, the president's market, stock market president, that's what it is. The stock market whisperer is a good one as well, and just talking about, you know, good news is good news and bad news is bad news. And he'd like to see good news creating market fluctuations higher. So for right now, that's what we're talking about. It's the Nasdaq going higher here on positive comments from Donald Trump. Didn't seem too aggressive about Greenland from what I heard. Now, maybe that's wrong. You guys can tell me. But the market seems to like what they're hearing now. And look, if Greenland was that much of an issue, the EU would be an issue. And right now, the Nasdaq and the ES both seeing higher highs as we speak. So, yeah, man, all aboard this Nasdaq and the market train. I'm going to take one more piece out here on the TQs and try to let the rest run higher, man. It's a good thing we flipped long on this, or else we'd still be in that big L. So right now, watching out for the Nasdaq, trying to go higher, watching multinational names like Apple, see if they can kick. We did like Alibaba earlier as well. I didn't even look at that really today. That had to move down, but kind of where we opened up with. So I don't think you want to look at names that are stagnant. You want to look at names that are flying around. And right now, that's why a lot of my focus is on Intel.
Well, that's sort of the thing. Like, you want, like, there's a lot that's making out.
Intel's at the highs right now.
You don't necessarily have to worry about things that are flying around. There's certainly plenty of them. Netflix pulling back into VWAP as we speak. IBIT bouncing halfway. So you need to it needs to confirm this 51.2 is resistance on that trend break. If it breaks, once it gets down to 51, I go from prior bar to effectively, it's going to be a break-even stop. So I'm just moving the stop. I just realized I canceled the other one and let's put in the new one. So if we break out above this 51.2, then I'm going to jump out of the trade. SMR is still not really going. It's doing a pretty poor job bouncing off of VWAP. So I'm going to double check to see what the other nuclear names are doing. Oklo, they did have an upgrade today, so they had some positive news, and they're doing even worse. Yeah, it doesn't feel like these ones want to go. What's NEE doing? Load. That's just as weak. So SMR is the right one in the group. Just needs to get going off that volume weighted average price, everybody. Certainly, wow, Intel 54. I guess it does want 55 after all. Zoom way out.
When you said that, I was like, there's no way it's getting to 55, but it definitely looks like
it's 25 minutes to go. The second we're done here, I'm putting an offer in front of $55 if it hasn't already gone there myself.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're
I'm going to sell another 10% of Intel myself. This is crazy. It going into the earnings.
I think I'm going to get out of it all.
You get a pump like this going into earnings, like anything could happen. Like the fundamentals are going to have to matter at some point to this company, right? So I think this is an opportunity.
You would
11.
think so.
Well, I can't remember the last time I saw something running this way that was already up this much going into an earnings print, right? Like it's.
No, I'll probably sell it all. I might only hold 10% left. It's too much of a move higher. This is absolutely.
Insights 2020.
Yeah, exactly. This is an absolutely monster move.
Because you don't mind sometimes if you're going to sell anyways. Then you just sell cover calls going into earnings, which is like that's the other play. If they get called away, heck, you wanted to take some profit. If it does, whatever, you get some premium as well. Either way, but anyways, doesn't really matter. Intel going to be reporting tomorrow, not today.
Yep.
For everyone out there.
Thursday night. We'll be staying late with you guys on Thursday night. We want to thank everybody that stayed late last night. We had a great turnout, so the after hours show was a killer. So stay with us
names tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. I wanted to. So I'm getting lighter, man. Like right now on this futures position, we just have a few shares left, maybe 20% left, honestly, of that position. I'm pretty happy about that too. So all good over there, guys. All right, let's just keep this party going. All right, so that's Intel. J&J, I like their report today. I said I really think that they're a name that you can diversify with and be pretty happy holding here for the long term. So J&J, nice move. We'll see if we get lower. I was hoping for 205 right there. It doesn't look like we're getting anywhere near there. Let's just find out. Wow, this market is just extension. Keeps going higher right now. Eli Lilly, yeah, buddy. Another 2.5% on that one's head right now for Eli Lilly today, as that's really extended out there. A little nervous there as it dropped out, as Novo Nordisk sort of beat them to the punch with their oral, but not that that really matters. We do know that Eli Lilly will be there. Eli Lilly has tons of production capabilities, so we're not too worried about Eli Lilly, but there goes the Nasdaq again. Huge upside move, and it looks like Amazon also. We looked at Amazon earlier, and I said I really like the base that it was forming down there. It just did give you VWAP one more time. I said 230. That's going to be a good one. You bounce off VWAP, and now you're looking to take out the highs. That's a good, as I know Sharif always says, good structure on that play right there. I still keep looking over at Netflix and at Intel, because these are the two plays that I think are due for a little bit of a pullback. Netflix maybe not, but I think Intel for sure. So just waiting to see if we can make our money back on this one. We just wicked high at 54. Still don't have like a volume profile here. Like I would like to see, that's obviously the open, but I'd like to see a little bit more of an exhaustion candle on the upside before getting short. But we could go short now against 54. It gives us an easy out, but just because we have an easy out doesn't mean it's an easy long. Sorry, an easy short. So I don't know. I'm going to hold out on Intel, but that name just keeps on going higher here.
No, there's pretty much nothing stopping some of these names. But if you're looking at the Mag 7 in particular, the laggard today is distinctly and definitely Microsoft. Not particularly sure why it's looking so bad or relatively bad, but you're still down 0.75 here on Softy and struggling to get off the volume weighted average price. So if you're looking for a dumper, it's these guys. Apple was weaker earlier, also weak earlier, but that's back into green. It's above that 47 where the dump off happened. This feels like a, does that not look like exhaustion on Apple, everybody, yesterday? And as long as we close over 247, maybe a bit of a reverse of trend before we get to the 200 period. That would kind of stink if you were waiting for the 200 period to dip by Apple, and then yesterday ended up being the low, and we just witnessed that at the close. It's certainly possible. For me, next, it's like whatever, unless Intel gets to 55. SMR now trying to close above the volume weighted average price. It's the only nuclear name sustaining its move right now. Oklo looking bad, NEE looking bad, so I just want one more shot potentially at this. But the thing I don't like, which is giving me pause, is those lower highs also confirmed a trend break. So technically I'd be breaking a rule going long here, because I'd be going long after it just broke the trend line. I don't really like it. So I'm going to stay away, maybe give it a couple of beats, maybe a 115-minute candle to close. On that, IBIT looks like it is going to try to get into VWAP in here. First time, okay. Second time loss, we'll look to get into the volume weighted average price. Bitcoin's back underneath 90K, but we're just bouncing back and forth. And we get a couple $100 above 90,000. We get a couple $100 below 90,000. No big breakaway from either. But for now, waiting for this 50-80 for a fill. Bitcoin not as strong as the overall market, which shouldn't really surprise anybody if you've been tracking the two lately.
Yeah, I jumped the line a little bit here with Intel by going short right now against 54.10. I mean, you know, an easy out doesn't mean that this is going to be right, but this is the first sort of 5 minute. You know, the last time we went hard. The last time the only time we went short was, oh, that's the daily chart, my bad. Right here, when this broke. Right there, we thought we had the short. Obviously, it blasted through. So we're trying to wait for that one candle here that does give us that. This is looking more and more like a doji star up here, but it needs to close underneath and start to go down. Like, we really needed to break through 53.60s before this short can really be confirmed. So yeah, you guys know where the stop is, man, and we'll wait. If it does break through there, then we're going to be out, and we'll take another L right there on what's generally our friend. I mean, it's my friend in the long term, but not here day trading as we continue to hold this short into, well, not continue to hold it there. Like, Okay, well, we're going to get stopped out again here on Intel as it's taking out new highs. 54.10, the new high on Intel, will stop us out one more time. So we'll go O's here on Intel, unfortunately, and not smart enough to figure out when this is going to break lower. So, yeah, keep taking some shots and using less shares there. So when you're right, and when you're wrong, you're not absolutely destroyed. So that's what we're doing right now as it goes right back into the money for us. I'm going to take a bid if we can get a 90 fill, honestly. Just take a little bit of pressure off, 10% off, and then hopefully this name will fall back in, because the more and more I sit in here and try to tell you guys that this short will work, it just doesn't work. So, yeah. You know, hands up there. We'll take a small hit on this, but it doesn't look like Intel wants to work out for us. Let's go back over to Adara. It's 1040.
Let's talk here about this sector map, which is generally very green, almost the exact opposite of yesterday. So let's start with what's really strong. Health tech, Eli Lilly up 2.5%, leading this entire sector with the one notable exception of Johnson & Johnson. J&J trading lower on earnings day one. Producer manufacturing strong, energy minerals strong, transportation, health services, consumer durables very green here. We've got commercial services, industrial services, and even finance. Some of these larger banks, JPM, Berkshire Hathaway, relatively flat, but a lot of these other names, including AXP, Citigroup, Blackstone, all to the upside. Let's talk tech, because one sector here is strong, the other one has some glaring signs of weakness. Electronic technology, pretty much all to the upside. Intel up a whopping 11% the day before earnings, and AMD and Micron not too far behind, up 8% and 6% respectively. Tech services has a lot of strength. Google up 2%, and Meta up about 1%, with Accenture up nearly 4%, but then Oracle, Apple, and Netflix all down roughly 2.5% to 3% each, with Netflix actually posting or providing weaker than expected Q1 2026 earnings guidance in its report last night. The only other sector here beyond technology services with obvious signs of weakness is consumer non-durables. In fact, pretty much every stock in this sector is notably red, with the exception of Nike. Nike up 2.5%. Yesterday, the company did announce some leadership changes on a regional basis. So small level leadership changes for Nike, managing to save the stock today. Lots to keep an eye on, though, of course, today in this market. But again, if you're looking for something that's a bit weaker, I would point you in the direction of consumer non-durables or certain tech services names. Back to you.
I'm going to say, if you're looking for weakness, Walmart is having some trouble today. It looks like it's still red on, like Walmart's still red, just sort of scanning names that are setting up. It's close to 11 o'clock, so you get a little particular about the setups, and was just going through my list of things that were in play. And after the drop yesterday in Walmart, this was on my radar. It just recently broke the trend line. So if it loses VWAP, yeah, this one looks like, I mean, it's counter to the market currently. A lot of strength in the Nasdaq. It makes some sense thematically for a couple of reasons. One, if there's, it was already the run up going into the add to the S&P, or sorry, the Nasdaq 100, and then you're getting a bit of the sell after the fact. So I like that kind of a theme. And then if we break VWAP, it makes some sense. All right, Bitcoin's still, I mean, it's sliding down, but it's not abjectly falling. And I'm still waiting for, Intel's not going to get to 55, it doesn't seem like. It's still another press higher. There hasn't been like a head and shoulders. There's been topping tails and trend breaks, but there hasn't been any distinct follow through. The second it shows me the other end, like the backside of the trade, like on the 15-minute, there was one 15-minute candle, then there was a trend break try. There just hasn't nothing else is set up for me just yet, but I am taking another shot at this. It was the after 11 o'clock that ended up being the fade on this stock anyways. You had some opportunities yesterday to take some shots at it that kind of worked out, but it wasn't until you got to noon that this one started falling for good. Vin, are you still in AMD? In my long-term account, I still have some left, but you know, I'm one of those people. You feel really smart when I was like, I'm not trimming my NVIDIA, and AMD's the one I'm trimming back in October of last year in front of the 250 level. But you know what? If your intention is to buy the dip and you don't buy the dip, all you've done is put some money into cash and then don't do anything with it. Thankfully, I mean, whatever. Like, I also bought AVAV first day of the year. That ended up working out for me. But I'm kind of mad at myself because this triple bottomed at $200 on AMD. It was kind of telling you where you should be buying this thing. So you can wait for the 200 period moving average all you want on stocks. Just, they don't have to care.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? I mean, it's a lot to wait out for some of these names, and that's why we think about investing versus like day trading. And if you have a day trade plan, that's great. And like Neil said there, to get back into it, but it can be quite difficult for sure. Yeah, okay, so I finally went short on Intel. We need a little ways to go before we actually make some real money back, but let's capture this right now at 72. We are short right here at 97, so we're 30 cents in now on Intel, and here it comes finally giving us, all right, let's take some more out here, 66s, thank you very much. So now here we go, 30 cents in the money. Look, we just got stopped out up there, so we said we're trading a little bit lighter right now. It's funny because Squeezo there in the chat said that I looked like I was revenge trading, and yeah, maybe, but not this time. I mean, not using heavy shares, so I'm not like mad about my P&L or anything like that there today. It's just we shorted it twice and it just didn't work. So now we'll wait to see if this short was really nothing. This short at 53, it was more in here where we thought that we were being part of this move down. That didn't work. We thought we would short this move right there, and then it just broke higher. And then this one, we talked about it. This was really well planned out and no problem there. But we still needed to go down in order to make any money back. So that's the other thing. But it is like all aboard right now. We do have a big trade here. This is going to be obviously a big P&L name here, and it's the TQs. So it continues to extend out higher right now. We'll see if we can get another offer and take this out. We are now $1.20 in the money on this. So I'm not going to sit here and complain about this move. So it's been a good one. And then now we're 35 cents in the money here on Intel as well. So yeah, let's see if we do get a drip, right? I mean, 53.50, that's 53.35 right there on Intel. I'm going to put a bid at 53.50. You know, there could be a lot of option plays here with Intel, with earnings coming through. So if everybody's running and buying these calls, at some point, you know, a dip down is going to create another run towards premium. Try to buy some or average in if you bought up here. There could be some people running to buy this dip just to get a better average price in case this move does continue. So I'm going to continue to take a little bit out here on hopefully the downside of Intel, bidding in the 50s right now for that one. Brands something here, BNAI.
Now at AMD's now 9% almost.
AMD, like some of these names just continue, man. Brand, what did I just call these guys? BNAI. Brand engagement, oops, that's Blue Ocean. BNAI, brand engagement, up 50, 40 and change percent. There goes Intel back upside, so you got to be careful with that. We just got out some more of the TQs.
That was that stock from the morning.
Yeah, this is the stock from the morning here that had a nice move up to 11 bucks. Basically halted there for that 10 minutes and has been going lower off that halt. BNAI. No point in really zooming out on this one. We've seen it really, you know, climb higher here. As we said, you know, higher lows still being made. So BNAI looks to be on a nice move higher here, despite its recent halt and tick down. Yeah, that's it, man. I like, you know, we didn't go over IBKR. I don't, like I didn't.
It was like
yeah, okay, it's not doing anything. So I was wondering how that would affect Robinhood right here today. Robinhood down to 108. So okay, Robinhood doing its own thing right now.
IBKR was like, yeah, it was like
actually Robinhood up 2%.
On
Okay.
Interactive Brokers. Disappointing. UAL moved around a little bit, but not too crazy on their earnings as well. But like staring down AMD, all day trend now. Like it had the VWAP trend line break. Timing is a little bit everything. If you get it on the initial wick, you could have scalped out. If you get it on the second wick on confirmation, it broke out. But now that pullback gives me a new trend line to work off of. So we're gonna have to really be patient with AMD. Maybe not so much. ARM is up 8% as well. But I noticed something very different between AMD, ARM, Intel, the market. It does have a head and shoulders already. I'm looking for that head and shoulders pattern on one of these parabolic chip names, and ARM has already done it. So you do have some lower highs working here on ARM to fade off of. This one into 116.5. We always have locates on this name. We do. Just double checking. I don't want to make the assumption, but we do have locates. So if it makes another press and tries to break this trend on the 3-minute, then I'm probably going to jump over into that. IBIT doesn't seem to want to get all the way to VWAP. Contemplating, like it broke the trend. That little dip got to 90. I was looking for the press into 80s. Still have a break-even stop, but I'm probably at some point going to move it down a little bit and maybe even just take out those 90s for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna have eyes on ARM now as the chip names have been all going ham. And of the three that are up almost 10%, it seems like ARM is the one that is on the back end of the trade. 10 minutes to go, which you know what that means. We've got money talks with Adara.
I have a lot to talk about here, but I'm going to try to be brief. We'll start quickly with the US dollar, which is still, again, running into that resistance at that 99.5 level and unable to get to 100. Right now, relatively flat on the day after 2 days of selling off last Friday on Monday here and also yesterday. So let's see if today breaks that losing streak or if we actually pull it a green or flat day for the US dollar. I want to talk a little bit about what's on deck for tomorrow before I get into the Fed's Cook Supreme Court hearing, which is very fascinating. Right now here, 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, we're going to be getting GDP quarter over quarter. That's the final print for Q3. Forecast here is 4.3%. So again, Q3 GDP tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Then at 10 a.m., we're going to be getting some PCE prints. Usually these don't come out at 10, so it is worth noting 10 a.m. tomorrow for PCE. PCE prices, that PCE prices are at 8:30, but PCE, like the actual index, year over year, month over month, core and non-core at 10 a.m. tomorrow. That's, I believe, for both September and October. So that's, October and November. So lots of PCE data that is going to be on deck tomorrow, in addition to that GDP print about an hour and a half earlier. I want to talk about this Fed's Cook hearing, because basically what's happening here is the Supreme Court does seem very skeptical to take this argument that Fed's Cook was being dismissed by U.S. President Trump for cause. Now, why this is so significant is because it does threaten the independence of the Fed if policy leaders can be fired, because they're not cutting rates or for policy decisions or what have you. That is the worry of the Supreme Court, and that is overwhelmingly what's been expressed by justices across the spectrum. So I think that's really worth noting. We've only heard right now from the Trump lawyer. We haven't heard from Cook's side, so I'm going to continue listening and I'll keep you posted. But either way here, this Fed's Cook case could be a very interesting one. Another thing that I think is really important that's been mentioned by a lot of these justices is they're not quite sure if this case even belongs in the Supreme Court, if it should be fast-tracked. They believe that maybe start with a lower court, have things progress from there. But either way, interesting stuff here, and certainly interesting for the U.S. dollar and potentially for the state of the Federal Reserve and monetary policy going forward. Back to you.
All right, good talk there. Thank you. Adara, I want to remind everybody that you can become we call it a premium member, but it's $5 a month. It's like next to nothing. And what it does is it gives you access to right here, man. This is the best sheet in the world. This is, thank you to Sharif for putting this together every day for us. It's between like 12 to 15 pages every single day. So you're a gold trader. Here's a whole page on gold. Sets new all-time highs. What are the macro and geopolitical sentiments here? What are the trader takeaways? There's natural gas. Arctic blast, Sharif, oh my. Tesla, robo-taxi, any information you want is all here. So whether or not you're on the can, whether or not you're in front of a TV, whether or not you're doing anything, this is very easy to read, man. It's all just a Google Doc PDF. You can grab this, very easy, talks about absolutely everything. And you would think, okay, if we're gonna put that out every single day, that's probably, $50 a month. I don't know. I have no idea like what something like that costs because we get it all right here. But if you just hit join right now, it is $5 a month right there. You're going to get all these cool emojis. And I'm sure someone will put it in there right now. And you could use some of these emojis there. The Sharif one, the Randy one. Shout out to Randy. And then right into there, members only morning research note. So look, we get a lot of people, gifting these. That's very kind of you all to do that. But just go in, man, for $5 a month. Hey, just don't get that coffee today. Skip coffee for one day. Educate your damn self. Get going on that one. I think it's or make it at home, whatever. Same difference. But at the end of the day, for $5 a month, I'm telling you, give it a shot. And then if you don't like it, just unsubscribe. I mean, I feel like the value is crazy right now as we all look for.
It's a very refreshing way to start your morning.
Yeah, like McDonald's review. Yeah, there it is. Have that refreshing watermelon, one of the best fruits around. But you can also test it out. If you like it, great. If not, just continue. But the reason why I can say that with most certainty is you're 100% going to enjoy the morning notes.
Well, that's the thing. You can either sit there and compile it all yourself and do that work, or
first of all, what's up to Ed
for a
over
quarter
here in
a
the
day?
chat? Where's my guy Ed?
It's a pretty good use of your resources, in my opinion.
Where's Ed over here?
Obviously, look, I see a lot of people in the chat mentioning a couple of names, and one of them we did not talk about. AMD's trying to break the trend line as we speak. Rigetti, we were talking about names that were weak and stink. Rigetti is definitely one of them. It looks like it's a short for sure. But finally breaking the trend line, the all-day trend is going to be AMD. Big Cheddar saying, heck
of a salesman. Yeah, that's not what I was looking for. Someone out there was like, oh, it's worth it for these accents alone. We have accents? Like, that's the thing. Like, I never...
Accents?
Like, when I was in Buffalo, I asked the lady there, I could definitely tell. We have a Chilean accent over here. The Chilean nightmares in the building. How's it going?
I've never
Fabian?
thought, I don't know. No one ever recognizes their own accent.
Yeah, no, I was in Buffalo, and I could definitely hear, like, upstate New York. I mean, look, I was, like, 100% could tell what was up with that lady at the hotel when we were in Buffalo there. And I even asked her if we have an accent, and, of course, she said yes, but I don't know. Do we? Can we put a poll up? We have a couple minutes left. I don't know if it's too late now. Do we have accents here in lovely Toronto, Ontario, Canada? Yeah. One of the most, if not outside of New York, we may be one of the most diversified populations.
Easily.
Easily, I would say.
Easily.
There, I don't know. Maybe not that easily, but I think it has to be true. I mean,
I would say easily.
Anyways, maybe we have accents, maybe we do not. But right now, what's accenting this net right here is Intel. As there it is, man, flushy. Let's see if we can get a little bit lower on Intel. We're into 53.50. These are sort of the levels that we finally thought about. We did get the back end of this trade, so there it is, finally coming through in there. Yeah, we have a maple accent. That's right. We sweet, baby. That's what we're talking about right now. But we got to figure out too. You know, in multiculturalism, we do have what's for lunch. And right now, every single day, I have a problem with the caterer today. It's an Italian flag.
Yes.
Fine. Normally good. The first thing on the on Italian flag.
Yes.
I'm Italian.
Hilarious.
Well, my father's born there.
That doesn't make any sense.
We'll be enjoying chicken fingers today. So the Italian fine food of chicken fingers, but
I don't care what sauce you put with it. It's okay.
I don't know. It doesn't matter either. But the next thing says spicy rigatoni. Mix up, you know the fine Italian food of mixing chicken fingers with rigatoni. Definitely something. So I think there's a misprint here with roasted seasoned vegetables and then Caesar salad. So I think we got everything right besides the chicken fingers. So I'm going to say it's probably we've never had chicken parm or anything like that.
I would do.
Maybe it's that. Okay, here we go. Look at all Brendo and company. Look at all these members, man. There it is, man. Heck of a salesman. We got one right here. Tori, welcome aboard. Welcome, Adam. Welcome, Eugene. Welcome, Big Cheddar. You're about to make some big cheddar on this purchase, I'm telling you right now. That $5, Big Cheddar, you're going to subscribe 10 times over. There it is. YXIXXIONG. Welcome. TLR Tralatic, welcome. And for 36 months, it is our friend, it is the myth, it is the legend, it is a plane crash coming through, and this is Mr. Westermeyer popping out.
What up, Daniel?
We look very much alike. There we go, Mr. Westermeyer, now on 5th year of watching. Definitely should be a member right there, so thank you for that. Another member just came in here. What's up, Other Zinc? Okay, we're reloaded. Thank you so much to another member. What's up to D. Costa and Miller? D. Costin and Miller.
C. Austin.
DC Austin makes much more sense, Neil. DC Austin Miller is in the building right now. Do we have an accent? Hell no, we do not have an accent. Apparently we do.
Well, I mean, if you're Canadian, then you know you don't hear it. But let's be real. Everybody, almost everywhere, has a bit of a dialect. I just never hear it. If I go out east, I'm like, oh man, I know what Canadians sound like when I go. But if I visit my brother, I'm like, man, that's distinct. But I guess that's what people say when they hear us. For sure. A boot. We're out in a boot.
Yeah, because we say that all the time.
I actually have to try to say it that way. I think. Man. I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me. We do see there's a super chat about BBAI. What's going on with BBAI? What up, BBAI? Not up. It's kind of weird. Like you would feel like this would be a BBAI kind of day, but we just showed you Rigetti wasn't really working. This one trending back in. Hey, Brian Shannon said he didn't like it, but guess where we are? We are 10 cents away, maybe 15, from the 200 period. So on the rail saying you had to buy at 570, that's because you're probably buying in front of the 200 period moving average. It's been bouncing there. I'd look for a bounce. intraday here. It's about 560. You already have a low at 565. So I'd look for a bounce off that 200 period moving average. That makes some sense. It's already trying to do so. If it breaks the trend, yeah, that could be a bit of a play here for a trade. But it is that 200 that you got to watch out for on the one is the big bear. Just a bit of a spoiler alert. We still got our good friend Obi filling in for Joe as Joe recovers from the ACL. He's doing just great. We've seen it in the chat a couple of times. But it is 11
No, hold on a second, because we're going to lose all these guys. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's still signed up here. What's up to David the Red? Hopefully you're David the Green today. Shout out to Sean Hodge right here. 59 damn months. That's another one. Face slapper there.